Howdy, folks, and welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I'm Joe, the DM for the evening, and joining me, as always, I have Matt, Miles, Ali, and Tina, my friends. We are like a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game set in the homebrewed world of Alberon. It's been going on for over 2 years at this point. This is actually session 80 of the sessions that have been streamed. There's actually been a whole bunch before that, but neither here nor there. Thank you for joining us. Announcements are extra short this week because it has been a very busy week, as we're all just talking about. We do have a website, alberonrpg.com. It is going to be undergoing a number of changes over the next couple of days, as it is so wont to do. I don't think it's ever stayed in the same format for more than 6 months, but it's going to change to reflect a couple of things that I think are kind of cool. One of the projects that we are working on is a little bit of a trailer. It's real short, 60 seconds. You'll be able to see it on Twitch when we're not online. It is going to just be from the viewpoint of a character that some of you have met named Abernathy the Bender, as he introduces very quickly, because it's only 60 seconds, the basics of the plot and then a little blurb about each character, each of you guys. So that's something that's going to be coming up. We also have a number of other little projects that I think will add on to the expanded lore of the universe that we have going on. So just stay tuned for that. One of the easiest ways to do that is by following us on Instagram at Alberon RPG. We do a lot of hand-drawn maps, some pretty, well, you guys are about to see this anyway, so some pretty dope stuff. And there's actually three-dimensional terrain that is beginning to be worked in, which I will show you when we get started for this particular session. Howdy Das and howdy Isumiwa. And then finally, we use Sirenscape for all of our audio needs for the sound, the music that you hear behind you, the weird sound effects that range from fire to storms raging overhead. Most of that is coming from Sirenscape, with the exception of the song that you hear behind you, possibly right now, but which you heard during our break screen. That was our theme song composed for us by the user 1000 Take Wonder on Reddit. So thank you very much for that. And with that, that is all the announcements we have for this week. So let me restart our theme song and bring us back into our recap. Finger Gang. Last we played, you began at the bottom of a staircase that had elements of body parts streamed and left behind. Morwen and Heinrich, you were the first to kind of step forward and engage primarily with this fat imp-like creature. Large, these tiny wings that could barely function to even shift the weight of this very Mike Wazowski built creature. He donned some glasses, despite being in the midst of devouring a gray dwarf for lunch, and had a lengthy conversation with all of you, jiving better with some of you than others, and you seemed, at least as far as you could tell, relatively straightforward, with a few exceptions. You learned a number of things from this imp. You learned specifically of the Grey Lady, that she is a Grey Dwarf who lived in the Cold Forge, but was exiled by entities known as those who endure, after attempting to shift their religion towards a different god. Morwen, you attempted to glean information about baby Edward, and learn that he was, as surprising as it might be to discover about a baby who has shadows licking from the edge of its eyes, which are all black, he is not, in fact, a child. The imp stated that if you could see him only in the space that you are currently in, that you wouldn't be able to see him for what he really was. Aka, you were able to pull a little bit of information about how to open the case at the beginning of this sort of avenue of divinity. Ruby crystal that kind of holds a shield of some kind, very magical and seemingly significant in some historical way, and certainly disliked by the Grey Lady. You discovered it would require 3 emblems to open that were named after 3 of the heroes from the early dwarves: the Heavy Hand, who you know to be Arista, the First Hero, and the Prodigal Smith. You all decided, confronted by the choice behind the imp of a black or a red door, to take the black one, after hearing that behind the red, a much quicker path lay in front of you, but a much stiffer and immediately more dangerous threat you would have to face. I think with some clever manipulation, Heinrich, you were able to discover that this creature was known as the Angler, although details you were not necessarily able to pull out. At the bottom of the staircase that you took beyond this black door, you came across another door, this one taller, wider, and carved of a very different material. As it twitched and stretched, you knew that this was made of flesh, skin, stretched taut. Heinrich, as you approached, instilling in the others that this is no more than an illusion. From the skin itself, a figure pushed itself out. No handles on this door, but hands outstretched. From Helia Coldrot, a figure that you all allowed to drown while facing Kindscale. Though perhaps just an illusion, a difficult encounter, but Heinrich able to open the door and progress through. You all came to a room with several tubes and recognized at a certain point you were no longer within the material plane. With a little bit of knowledge from Shay and from Heinrich, who's seen a little bit of this, you recognize that you were within the Shadowfell, or at least a place very closely adjacent to it. Morwen, you mentioned that and remembered that another member, very briefly, of your party had also been lost to this place. Another elven artificer named Anasu.
Dime a dozen.
There you go. You mentioned it's almost like somebody really wanted to play an elven artificer. Heinrich, at Morwen's best, you reached out and contacted Anasu, or attempted to, using the sending stone that you had paired. Though a heavy breathing on the other end and a raspy voice spoke out that they spoke for the lector and asked who you were. Not necessarily forthcoming with details was Heinrich, but you were able to receive a sigil that may serve as an invitation to a place known as the Soul Market, that burned and infernal even as you held the stone in front of you. You pushed onward and discovered a room of angels. By finding the various adamantine eyes to fit, you were able to save yourselves from a fountain of water and then oil that began to pour from beneath, or from between the eyes. You passed through the doorway that opened beyond and outward, found a gate to the Granite Overwatch. Outside of this gate, you were confronted with a skeleton that operated through magical means. Some of you recognize the spell as Speak with Dead. And as you spoke and learned a little bit of what this place was, you were prompted to trade something for entry. You decided that the best thing to trade, as you did not necessarily need a physical object, but perhaps information, was information relating to Azra, the goddess of Ra. And after being allowed entrance to this place, you entered beyond these archways to see in front of you this long, kind of half dome room. Not long, but a wide half dome room, almost like a hat shell. And as your footsteps found themselves, you could hear the echoes through this chamber, very loud. But in front of you, flanked, raised on either side of the room by two very odd looking, almost ballistae kind of things, although made of metal and not as corroded as you would imagine. Um, in the doorway, 5 feet wide, this kind of twisting passage of natural stone, but also carved, almost as if the stone has kind of been reclaiming elements that have been carved away. This small figure. And give me just 1 second to find some music for you. All right. In front of you, you can see, and actually, I can just send you a picture because you can see it very clearly. Uh, a 3 foot tall figure, kind of wedged, just stepping forth from the shadows. Behind her, and Heinrich, I would say that you see this kind of being the furthest up front the most. There are elements of these shadows, and you can almost hear this kind of behind as they lick at her back. You get the sense that she could probably step back and close these. And even the way that she uncertainly holds herself in this space would allow you to kind of believe that's the intent, should anything happen. Directly in front of you, you see elements of like a dwarven pattern in the stone, though mostly covered by dirt and grime. There are jagged fences, definitely not part of the original defenses, but erected sometime after. You can see on one of them actually a skull impaled. Um, But in front of you is the Grey Lady. Small, just under 4 feet tall. You can see the hands and a little bit of the neck and the chin, this ashen gray skin, snarls of moles and scar tissue. You can see that the robes were probably white at one point, but they now bear filth to a shade of gray. She wears a mask that appears to be almost the top part of a skull, probably another dwarf skull that masks the nose and the face, although you can see eyes beyond. In the right hand, there's a ripple, a visual disruption that would indicate to you an element of psionic force. And just so that you guys have something of reference, I'm going to put this in our general chat in Discord. And if somebody wouldn't mind sending that to Twitch chat, that would be greatly appreciated. That is an overview of the room that you can see. And if you need details, I will send them. But she steps one more step forward, and the rest of you who are not Heinrich can see this small figure moving, kind of hunched. There is a limp to the right leg, but using no cane. And as she steps a little bit forward into the dim light in this space, she says, "The goddess of rot, eh? I will know your words. But tell me this. You've walked a long way to give an old dwarf free information. What brings you hence?" And you see she holds out the hand that doesn't have this ripple of disruption. The fingers are a little bit longer than you would imagine, the nails long and blackened underneath. But she gestures forwards with one of these long fingers, and for you guys, it's almost hard to tell if there's an extra knuckle or not. What would you like to do?
Free information? Definitely not. That was just a way to get through the door. We just want to use your forge and get out of here, pretty much.
You can see she takes a step to the right. And as you do, you become aware, I would say actually everybody but Heinrich will become aware of the fact in these ballistae spaces, there are almost these vague ripples similar to the ones in her hand. This psionic force, some kind of puppetry, perhaps similar to what you saw previously, kind of encompassed in animal stuffing and strange amalgamations of fur. But these just kind of raw psionic energy, kind of poised to utilize these things. She walks a little bit to the right at you, Heinrich. You wish to use the cold forge. It is not mine. This is not the cold forge. Simply a gateway to it.
And there's why we're here. Just kind of point at her and you're like, exactly.
And you can see
get down
to her,
without going through, right?
Yeah, and to her left, you can see there is this kind of doorway. As it would happen. And she stops. You can see the hands clasped together. The fingers can wrap all the way around and actually brush the end of her palm around her hand. We have mutual interest in this cold forge. There was a time where I called it my home, but no longer. Tell me. And she turns again. And I would say each of you at this point, even Heinrich, can see the space around, the dark stone, this weird kind of gray ripples in a very almost fluid-like way. The very stuff that this room is made out of seems to be an element that she can control slightly. But as she walks again a little bit to the side, she says, "You wish to use the cold forge. It is most likely a fool's errand, but I think we can help each other. Who of you believes that you could operate such a thing?" The elf? And she turns and looks straight at you, Akka.
I'm just staring her down.
You're going to try to stare her down?
I mean, I'm not saying anything to her, but I'm not staring her down in like an intimidating way. Just like, I'm not answering. You can fucking read my mind, so
okay. And what are you
keeping
thinking
quiet right now.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking like, I don't know. I have to fucking look at it first. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, I've heard about it, but Jesus.
Such profanity in your mind.
Just a gold a day.
Akka, make a wisdom saving throw. Oh, take a real
Choose to
high
fail
wisdom
it,
saving
right?
throw. You can if you would like. Yes, absolutely.
Because otherwise it's just going to look like you're staring her down.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, that's good.
That's a 3. 4.
You feel the skin on the back of your neck stand up. The hair is rising straight up like goosebumps. Almost as if you got cold, but then you feel that sensation move like fingers down the back of your scalp, almost in your head. And you can see she smiles. Interesting. She takes a step beyond this kind of row of spikes, and as she steps into them, you can see they pull apart, almost liquid for a moment, and then right back behind, solid. She's within about 15 feet of you, Akka. Are you doing anything?
I'm like tensing up in case I need to fucking. If she tries to grab me or something, I'm probably like, whoa, wait a sec.
Okay. So she stops about 15 feet away. Shay, she's closest to you, only 10 feet off. You can smell, not actually like you would imagine. There is this vague scent. She's earthy for sure, but you can smell almost this strange kind of roasty, malty smell. All of you would know this as like a coffee kind of scent, but it's very strangely nice considering the creature that it's coming off of. She steps over and looking you down about 15 feet away, Akka, she says, Fazarakian techniques on your armor, aren't they? You don't need to answer. There is another of your kind down there, and that is where our interests align. Tell me. And she turns, and you can see part of this, the air right in front of you, Akka, kind of shifts a little bit and becomes darker. You can see this almost like you're looking into a window pane, like a very dirty window pane. What do you know of those who endure?
Not much, right?
No, probably not.
That phrase
Probably
doesn't
just thinking.
mean it.
Make a history check.
That phrase doesn't mean anything to any of us. I don't
Those who-
think.
The only one who it may have meant anything to, honestly, was probably Guntir.
Probably. History. That's a 23.
In this kind of imagery, and I would say you don't necessarily recognize the people who appear, and for all of you, it is a still silent image that appears in this kind of rectangle of space that floats. There are 4 figures that you can see. Excuse me. One of them, and they're all gray dwarves. The first one you can see a male, this kind of frantic hair that comes out and shocks almost like flames. You can see another one, this just bizarre frantic look in her eyes. She doesn't have any hair. She's completely bald. You can see in ways actually kind of similar, and I would say, Shay, you notice this, markings that are similar to the ones that Gamble has from years of experimenting and tinkering. You also see the other 2, they look fairly similar, probably twins. But as she gestures to these figures, they disappear. Those who endure are those who had me cast out from our civilization. They know not what they do, but they set in motion things that cannot be allowed to progress. Up
What?
above, there are things that all of you are concerned with. Great things, of course. But I focus only on what's beneath, only what belongs to deep Dora. And she draws back. The shadows for a second grow a little bit longer in the room. She waves her hand, and as this rectangle disappears, all the figures, another one appears, a black dragonborn. This is Volcrasix. They come from far, far to the east. To the west, sorry. They were taken by Arcanum, the leader of those who endure, and forced to work the Cold Forge. He is a true Fazarakian artificer, this dragonborn, schooled in the techniques that have been passed down for generations. You need something built, and I need those who endure to endure no longer. We could help each other.
Like I said, we just kind of... Is that the way down? I'm just going to point towards the door.
She's going to turn to look at you and regard you for just a moment. There is nothing that you can do down there by yourself.
What help would you provide towards our goal?
Well, that all depends. You said you have knowledge of Azura, and if you simply want safe passage through the Granite Overwatch, that is an easy enough trade. But beyond this place lie a citadel of the Duragar. They were able to drive me and the rest of the Deep Singers out. What hope do you have? Do you know the terrain? Do you know how to get past the gates? I didn't think so.
Right.
It's baby Edward over there.
She turns to look at you. Would you like to see Edward?
Nah.
To that point, though, he kind of did... Look, before we go anywhere forward, maybe as a gesture of goodwill, maybe to start this potential relationship, you could have him fix our heads. Kind of been feeling foggy ever since last we encountered each other. You know, this friend and I.
The smile grows a little bit wider. Oh. That could be part of this deal. It's easy enough to overcome. Just sleep it off.
Oh, that's all I needed to know.
Well, can we also can you get
She
him to
smiles
leave
at
us alone?
you extra wide, Heinrich.
Can you get him
I'm
to
a little dumb now, so.
Can you get him to leave us alone, like, permanently? He's creepy. Is that your kid?
She smiles wide. I brought him into this world, yes. So, if you would like some help in this matter, perhaps we can work out a deal. I would like my city back. I will put you in the Cold Forge, or at least give you the way to access it. Even if you could make your way through my domain, which you cannot, you wouldn't stand a chance. The only way to reach the Cold Forge is by Steeder.
Who?
Precisely.
Right. Is there an answer?
She looks at you.
I'm almost trying to catch her off guard by
Sure.
being so stupid. So if any sort of deception plays into this.
There is a show of good faith, perhaps. I've been watching, as I always do in my domain, and the army that crawls has sent what I believe to be scouts in. I've contained them for the time, the same way that I could contain anything in my domain. I could insert you there in any part of the room that you wish. But you will need the steers they have to get to your location. Show me that I can trust you. Kill these grey dwarves. Take the steeder.
Can we just ask for them nicely?
Make a persuasion check, Morwen.
As an example of how nicely I can ask. What am I doing? Persuasion. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So that is a dirty 20.
You wish to go to the army that crawls, a place that has almost certainly set a trap for me, and ask them, the heartless Duragar, to hand over the massive spiders they ride and spend a lifetime creating a connection with. I don't think so, but you're welcome to try.
I'm gonna try.
She is pretty convincing.
No harm in trying.
Yeah, you say that. She smiles a little wider.
All right, huddle up, gang. Huddle up, gang. Excuse us a minute, and I'll just turn around.
Sidebar.
And let's aside.
You watch as the space that you were in suddenly begins to grow. This room that was a half shell before stretches so that now all of a sudden it is almost 75 feet long. You see the figure all the way off at the distance, a sheer stone wall that comes to you. You see at the very end of the hall, she gestures for you to have your space.
Uh-huh. Well,
think
on the
she's
principle,
nice.
she can already hear us and knows what we're saying. Still feels a little better. What do you guys think?
I will make a deal with her.
You will. Well, I guess we got through the door with what I said, but
If we
What
can
are you
incorporate
doing?
What are you
the imp, that'd be
thinking?
cool.
what are you thinking? Yeah.
She wishes to have these creatures out of the way.
You just want to. I haven't met any of them. Maybe they're the good guys. You know.
Well, maybe we can just like get them out of here.
Look,
Do
Regardless.
they have to be dead, or can we just like, you know?
She
Okay,
may...
worth noting, and I don't know necessarily if this is something that Matt knows or not, but as a reminder, the Fazarakian techniques are basically extinct. You learned from one of the very last practitioners, and she wasn't a master. There hasn't been
Yeah.
a master artificer since Gathfell.
Yeah.
So, worth noting.
yeah.
She at least may not be our first enemy, and we may find an unlikely ally against Azra and her.
That's what I was thinking too.
Why don't you see what their relationship is?
That's what I was
They
gonna
friends
do.
or not?
But then we kind of kept the conversation kind of moved past that point. But I'm glad you guys are all in agreement. So
I mean-
if I do need to tell her any of this stuff, at least it'll be in the light of, hey, you want to stop her too, maybe? Because like we do too.
Save the imp.
Right, and the imp at the beginning.
He needs some exercise. He needs to get out of here.
That's what you guys do.
I don't
I'm
feel good
indifferent.
about this. This
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a good deal.
Well, what would you do? Rock and hard place, or yeah, rocks all. It's just rocks all around, actually.
Elf in a dwarf place.
Yeah, actually, technically.
You're welcome.
Well, I think we need some assurances if we're gonna undertake this. I mean, I didn't sign up to be an assassin.
Then
All around you through the
Don't.
air, you hear the voice ethereally. There are other ways.
Yeah,
Was that her
maybe-
voice?
Yes.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
opposed to.
Well, I don't
It's
know.
Edward.
Yeah, you don't know.
He talks.
I don't know.
You haven't heard Edward talk.
Anyway. I think
Yeah,
this is
let's
like
just,
a
let's
seat
just
of our
remove the
pants.
dwarves.
I think this is a seat of our pants situation. Just kind of have to take it one step at a time.
I don't know what that means. Pants are new to me, but I respect it.
Right. Right.
All right.
Sorry.
Canonically, Morwen's been wearing pants for just shy of 3 months now.
Shay, what is your deal that you want to make?
I will assist her in her task, if she will assist us in ours.
So you're gonna just take all of this one?
Well, how is this going to help? Are you going to ask this guy to come with you to the Cold Forge and do it?
If I must.
It's not how these things work.
It might be. I mean, I've never seen a place like this, and apparently we're not in the same plane. And I don't know how things work here anyways.
Yeah, I mean, like, you came with us when we asked. What's the difference, you know?
The difference is we're putting our necks on the line for something that I don't think any of you signed up for a new client, as it were, who, you know,
Shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
So you would rather
Is he
just
though?
go home,
That's the joke.
I think
do nothing?
I'm saying if we really need these things from her and she's giving us all of this information, I think we need to balance it, you know? She talked about trust. We need some trust too, that we're not going to be, you know, taken advantage of by being, you know, someone's lapdog.
Well, question. This might be stupid. Most things I say are, but sometimes kind of work, so I'm just gonna go for it. Did we get any of that metal stuff that we needed?
Not yet.
Do you think she knows where it is?
I think
We know
just
where
need
it
the key.
is.
We know where it is. We just need the key to get into that last lock.
Okay, she just like give us the key, and we're like, okay, cool.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. We need to outline a series of actual plans with this person
So we're making a contract
so that
for
we
it,
make
but-
sure.
Well, that is the next step, is it not? Is the negotiation phase with her.
Right. So we
Yes,
need
but I think
access to this metal that we found the entrance to. So key. We need safe passage to the forge, and then help using it.
Imp.
Those are and I'll put the imp in a gap between. I'll put it on the other hand. Does that sound about right? These things?
To Akka's
And
point,
in exchange of what we murder and or coerce out of
Say murder.
their living situation.
Let's say remove. Seems more polite.
Unemploy forcefully.
Yes.
Depose, some might say.
That's a good word.
Promote to visitor.
Promote to a different position entirely. Okay, so that's two things that she'll need from us.
I mean,
as long as we have our four things, we can kind of see what else she's offering and ask for things.
that's not how it works. She offers what we will accept. if we don't ask for anything in return,
No, I'm
we're gonna
saying
get the
these
bare
four
minimum
things that
here.
we want.
Yeah, do we want anything else?
Mhm.
I want assurances. We were attacked by her son.
That will be on the table. Go right ahead.
I want a mark
in
of
my book,
trust.
in my book, that falls under safe passage, which was number 2.
Well, maybe we should get safe.
I want a
passage
mark of
specified.
trust.
Well, yeah.
And then I
that'll-
turn and I look at her, and I'm
Okay.
like,
About 75 feet back.
Oh, I wasn't listening. See, you can trust me.
What was that?
She takes a step
Oh,
forward.
me?
And as she does, for a moment, her very essence flickers, and she's a little closer than she was before. Similar in ways to Baby Edward, but almost more purposeful, more measured. But quickly takes a step forward, 10 feet quicker. all of a sudden, maybe 20 feet away from you, Aka, she stops. You want assurances. A contract, if you will. Very well. And she snaps these long, spindly fingers. And as they do, you can see around behind her these very familiar looking wrought iron bars appear and then stretch out. And as they unwind, a very infernal looking wrought iron door materializes and then settles onto the ground. She reaches over with these long fingers, wrapping them around the metal door handle. And as she turns and opens it, you can see this horrible creature. It is humanoid. The eyes and mouth have been stitched shut. You can see it seems to tremble and twitch. The hands are bound behind it. It stumbles 1 foot out, the other, and you can hear from beneath the mouth, which has been stitched shut, these small whimpers, but so quiet, the air having trouble coming through. She smiles, and you can see she looks and kind of gestures at the figure's chest. I want those who endure gone. And she flicks her finger, and you hear the figure whimper again as the words in infernal burn into the side of its chest. What do you want?
I'm gonna do like the 4 finger towards Aka. Remember those things.
I can't do that. This isn't my.
What do you mean you can't do that?
I'm.
Okay, fine. What do you want? Where
This
are the
is
things?
not at all what I signed up for, right?
What did you sign? We'll talk about it later.
What were the things we
Well-
just talked about? Can someone help me out here? I'm having trouble remembering.
Safe
Oh,
passage through and to the Cold Forge
And back.
and back.
Thank you.
Aka, in your mind, the back of it, again, you can feel, having already failed this throw, this kind of same creepy sensation. Like fingers kind of stroking the back of the skin of your neck, through your hair, not disrupting the hair at all. And you hear her voice in the back of your mind, similar to how Heinrich does it. Aka, there are other things that you want, don't you? And your right arm, you feel shake for a moment.
So that was 1.
And what was the one that you said, Heinrich?
Safe passage 2? Well, Shay said it.
Okay, safe
But,
passage
but
2.
I amended that to
Through,
and from
to,
the Cold
and
Forge.
from the Cold Forge.
She
That was 1.
moves the finger almost imperceptibly, and you can see again Heinrich being able to read both Infernal and also having eyes of the Runekeeper and being able to read everything. You can see it says safe passage. Burns in.
Mm-hmm.
You can now see there's almost like 2 columns
Mm-hmm.
on the right and the left. And interestingly, make a Arcana check. We'll say religion. We'll call it. Also, hello, Talon.
6.
Yep. I mean, looking at this, it's awful. It's like a real human. You can see elements of hair. There probably are eyes behind the stitching, the mouth. It trembles. It has this kind of loincloth. There's something very messed up about what's happening here,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not putting the pieces together necessarily. However, she looks kind of at the group again. And
yeah, so you're familiar with this area. Where you know the neighborhood.
in ways.
You know where you keep that imp fellow, your greeter.
Oh, Herkel, yes.
Yeah.
What of him?
Nearby, there's a vault. I'm gauging her reaction to that. I'm like inciting.
Make an insight check, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also be?
Oh hell yeah!
Can I be? I want to. Well, I want to also.
25.
Okay, make an insight check, Morwen.
17.
Oh. We both rolled similarly though.
So, Morwen, and I would say with the 17, you're still kind of getting the sense there is a reaction. You can sense something happening, but you're not really sure what it is. She is difficult to read. Heinrich, as you mention this vault, there is just a curl to the lip, this moment, a micro expression of disdain. But she smiles and covers it up almost immediately.
Yeah,
What
so
about it?
I just got a feeling there's something good in there. Those things typically have like lots of keys, special keys, protections, whatever. Do you know of any keys that may open up?
Said keys like fuck.
Keys.
Keys.
You know
keys.
Keys. You're familiar with keys, right?
It isn't a matter of keys, I would imagine. But that vault holds no interest to me.
Okay, well, it holds a little interest to us, and that's something that I wanted to maybe pencil in on your friend here. You being from around here, that being part of around here, I imagine you would know of its security measures.
I would say with that insight check, and when you say that, she again kind of gestures and says, "It isn't a place that I've gone. My focus is on revenge, not petty thievery." But you do get the sense, Heinrich, that there is frustration in that voice. And even with the 25 and a reduced intelligence at the moment, you get the sense that she can't get in that door.
I know.
I
gathered as well because when we opened it, it was sealed. So yeah. Be like, okay, right. Right. So again, you're familiar with this place. Do you even know what's inside it? Do you even know if there are any sort of...
Heinrich, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw, please.
I'm just trying to get her to answer my question about the key. 14.
All of you watch as suddenly the color drains from Heinrich's face, that clay color becoming almost ashen. And Heinrich, you drop to 0 hit points and fall unconscious.
Okay. Can I use my feature?
Oh.
Which feature is that?
Hellish rebuke. No, I'm just
No.
kidding. No.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna use it.
What is it?
So it's my new one that I just picked up called Searing Vengeance.
Okay.
Oh no.
Read the text of that.
So starting at 14th level, the radiant energy you channel allows you to resist death when you have to make... Oh, it's death saving throws. Never mind. There's the death saving throw part. Not zero. I thought it was when you drop to 0. So okay.
So interesting point. You are not making death saving throws. You are stable and unconscious, but
I'm
you are
feigned
at 0.
death.
Sort of.
It's
For all of you who have seen feigned death quite often, this does not seem like feigned death. You can see the rise and fall in Heinrich's breath, but it's shallow, ragged. You can see for a moment, all of you, this flash of anger. And as you do, you see the red-eyed bulge slightly. You can see the skin kind of become more wrinkled and pulled in, the teeth more prominent. The nails seem to become almost loose in their beds. But as that moment passes, she returns to this very kind of plain-looking Grey Dwarf.
We meant no offense.
Calm reaction to your friend just dying.
She's no offense taken. We're good.
But I find myself in a bit more of a sour mood. So.
I will speak plainly then.
Do so, Shay.
My friend questioned about the vault because we are in need of Diotic ore.
As soon as you say the word need, you can see she begins to smile a little bit wider. But
He only asked in hopes of perhaps finding some.
Diotic ore. That's an interesting one. You can see her hands now just kind of wringing, and you can see a little bit of drool at the corner of her mouth. I might know where to acquire some, and yet again we could help each other.
What would be your price?
There was a time when I thought I might peek in on my people to see what perversions they've come across in their new-found religion. But I miss one ingredient. But alas, I've misplaced the others. I imagine I can find the other ingredients here. Shay, make an insight check.
$24.
As she says that, she does look between you and Heinrich briefly for a moment. But she refocuses in on you. The one I'm missing is the one that weeps, and I only know of one of those. But I assure you this task more dangerous than facing grey dwarves in combat.
Very well. The last major point would be the assistance with the Cold Forge and using it.
And therein lies the matter of most import. To reach the Cold Forge, you will need to go through those who endure. I spoke of them earlier. The leader of them, Arcanum, the Eater of Cold Fire, they call him. He is the one who subjugated the Dragonborn. He controls the Cold Forge and uses this creature to create things to keep the balance of power in his favor. He will not release it or the Dragonborn easily. But again, we might help each other, Shay.
I am inclined to agree.
You can see these lines of text appear all across this wretch's skin. It burns. You can see there's just whimpering, little elements of moisture coming between the stitches in the eyes. Shay, it is infernal. You cannot read it. However, Heinrich.
I can also.
I'm unconscious.
There you go. Right. Heinrich is unconscious. However, Akka, being able to read this, you can see it has a little bit of a deal. Make an intelligence check. And because as you're watching, it is a block of text. It is dense, and there are multiple clauses.
Ooh, natural 20.
Okay. Heinrich, you walk up to this wretch, and as you can hear through the...
I
Oh,
don't.
sorry. Akka. I'm just so used to anybody who reads stuff being Heinrich.
You mean not me?
I mean, you know, there's like some
Guys,
very
I got
basic
this
picture
contract.
books.
I'll read it.
Oh, God. Akka, with a natural 20, what is the total of that?
25.
Okay.
Smart boy.
This is a complex contract, and you can read that there are points that have been brought up. You can see that this contract will guarantee you passage through the Grey Lady's domain. And I would say with the natural 20, there's a little bit of information that you're pulling out of this contract. The Grey Lady's domain is the Granite Overwatch. You get the sense it does extend a little bit beyond through the language of this. It is also not referred to as the Granite Overwatch. If you just give me 1 second, I will pull up the name for you. But it appears at some point the Grey Dwarves have renamed it. The name is it's a dwarvish name, and I'll find it for you in a second, but it translates to veins of agony, and the veins being like ore veins, not blood veins. But she mentions the Granite Overwatch being called that and guarantees you safe passage through. It provides for each of you should you agree to this pact. And the word is certainly utilized multiple times, pact. You will gain a favor from the Grey Lady. And there are a few options listed amongst this that you imagine perhaps she will give to you. I'll get back to those in a second. It agrees, should he be alive at the end of the contract, that you can take this Dragonborn, who you would see the name is that's where he comes from. Valchrysix, which is a complicated spelling. I can send it to you later. But Valchrysix will be allowed to leave with all of you. You are guaranteed within this contract, should you be able to enter it, uninterrupted use of the Cold Forge for a period no longer than 30 days. The mention of diotic metal is a subclause, and it comes with the contingency that you retrieve for the Grey Lady an item that is known as the Eye That Cried. With a natural 20 Akka, you also read that this eye, it specifies that this eye must be used by the Grey Lady in a very specific spell that will be used to scry upon the Grey Dwarves. You see the full text for the spell, which is gold eyes of 6 that saw and see, gold eyes of 6 that belong to thee, one of a devil, one of a skink, one of a toad, one of a mink, one that cries and one that flies. You see all these things. You see there's a subclause in for dealing with these Grey Dwarves now sealed somewhere beneath you in her domain. With a natural 20 Akka, there is language that suggests that the Grey Lady recognizes that this is an ambush for her. Within this contract, there are listed 3, you don't recognize the word, but Kalvraki are mentioned as being eliminated, along with 6 steeders and other occupants. It is listed. Shay, you had also mentioned, I believe, we got the Diac Metal, we got your safe passage. Was there anything else that you had mentioned?
I think it was the 3 points so far.
Okay.
And the usage of the forge, and then also other hand was something that she would probably bring up anyways.
Didn't get to the imp so far. Nobody's mentioned it. But Akka, really quick, the gifts of the Grey Lady that she could potentially give you. The use of an ally for a period no longer than 9 days. You do not know what that means. There's no ally specifically mentioned. Okay. But you've seen allies of hers before, and you could probably guess. There is an infernal gift that would allow each of you certain abilities within a more narrow subset and a narrower length of time. Charges, if you will. The other option is that she will grant you access to a back way into the Cold Forge. A way that doesn't require the use of these steeders to enter necessarily. And that is what you see with the natural 20 and an overall 25. You read this contract very carefully. You read all the terms and conditions. You read everything.
Take out my my goggles of perception that I don't even have attuned right now.
So they work just like normal goggles, but you look at them.
I'm reading it out loud to everyone.
Okay, so you guys all hear this stuff. Akka, in the back of your mind.
Go ahead and add legalese to languages you speak.
Yeah. In the back of your mind, you also again hear this voice and feel that gentle caress. Wouldn't you like to be free of that thing in your arm? And I would say nobody here has the passive to see it, because Shay, yours isn't above 20, is it?
It is 20.
It is 20?
Mhm.
For a moment, you can see the skin on Aka's arm, the fingertips, really the only thing that you can see, almost take on this weird, inky black nature. You've seen his sword,
Ew.
very
No, I'm just kidding.
similar,
Mhm.
but kind of gone.
Wait, so you read it all?
Aka reads all these terms out to you.
Can we let the imp go?
I don't think.
You ask her that? Make a persuasion check. Yeah, make a flat persuasion check.
Can I message back to her when she's
You
doing
give it a
this?
try if
26?
you want. 26.
Yeah. Will
Okay.
you please free the imp?
Aka, what are you mentioning back? You can see all of a sudden her eyes divert away from you for a second as she considers this very seriously.
I'm gonna be like, look, I don't care about any of the things that they're trying to do. This is not what I signed up for. You can fucking read everything in my head right now. You know what I want, but I want assurances that I do this and I'm done. And you complete your end, and we're done.
In your head, and as you hear this message, and Morwen, I'll get back to you in a second, but as you hear this message that I'm about to say, you see in the bottom of this wretch, right underneath the belly, which is like emaciated into the ribs, another little claws appear. Aka Katana, should you bring me? Give me just 1 second.
Akakatana?
Aka
That's
Katana
not
is
it.
Aka's full name.
No,
Isn't it?
it's
Oh, you didn't change it?
Katara.
Katara, sorry.
I literally just
That would
texted
be so-
Miles. I was like, taco sword.
That's so I had it so Matt. I had it in my mind as
Aka
Taco
Katana.
Sword the whole time. For
Because
those
it's
of you who are
perfect.
watching and haven't
'Cause
really
it's
followed along,
perfect.
Aka in our world is the name of a Goliath style, like a taco, basically, in one part of the world. And so Aka, unbeknownst to everybody but Morwen, is really just basically named Taco. But which for an elf is a hilarious name.
What's your
But-
real last name?
Katara, which is
Katara.
actually
No,
cursed in ancient Greek.
Okay. Oh, okay. Akakatana.
So it's cursed taco.
Yeah, which is now you can see the Discord name.
Jeez.
Aka Katara, should you bring me alive the greatest traitor to the deep singers, Kutha the excitable, bring her to me alive, and you will be done with that. And you feel your arm throb again. Looking at this contract, you see those exact words.
What about the imp?
And then as this is happening,
The
she
only
turns to
important
you.
thing.
And Morwen, I would say even with your currently lowered intelligence, there's a moment where you can see she's focused on Aka, and there's this like delay in the conversation just long enough so you almost ask again. She turns to you. Hergel, what of him?
No, he just, seemed pretty sad and seemed like he'd been doing that for a long time, and maybe did his time, and maybe you can just like let him be. I just feel bad for the guy. We're all trying to get along, right?
She moves her finger. Aka, you see one tiny line added to this contract. It literally is like an asterisk, and then it just says guarantee of Herkel's freedom.
You gonna let me know, or? Well, actually, I guess I'm not kidding. Did she?
She immediately turns her attention back to you, Aka. Let's look an aside for her.
All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna say, you know, I didn't sign up to be a hero like these people. You know everything that I'm saying, that I'm thinking right now. So, I recognize that I am a small fish in a big pond, and I am not trying to do anything greater than that. But if there was a way to control this, rather than, completely remove, then I would consider.
I can set you on that path, but direct control over something of that nature is earned.
Is that loud?
No.
Oh, okay, so you're just staring at each other.
Yeah.
I have some questions, if I may. You know everything, so I think it's only fair that I know some things.
This sounds like a side deal.
We could think of it that way.
You can see that little thing on the side of this figure disappear. The skin just scarled and snarled, an angry red underneath. Then we'll speak privately.
Okay.
She turns after being quiet for about 15 seconds. So for all of you who would agree to this contract, she holds out a hand and these little sparks, almost like ashes, drift away, and there's a black feathered quill in her hand. Who's first?
One last request. During this time, can we consider each other, at least, if not formally allies, at least allied in a cause, and share information accordingly?
What information is it that you wish for? You came in offering information on Azra, which to me is interesting. But my goals remain the same. I wish for my home. You should understand what that feels like.
I do. And the information I would ask would pertain to that. The things that you know about what we would find within.
Within where?
About these individuals you wish deposed.
That is, of course, part of this deal. I wouldn't send you in blind. I want these individuals dead, for the most part. It would serve me not to have you die pointlessly in there.
Thank you.
She holds the quill out to you, Shay.
I'll take it.
Okay. You approach, you can hear this is a real human. As you hold your hand closer, you can feel the heat from his skin rising off. He whimpers slightly. Looking at the quill, there is no ink. It is just very sharp.
I'll sign.
Okay, you can hear from between the seams as it hurts. You feel the skin move, but you sign your name. And as you write it, there is no blood. It kind of flares and burns itself in. Shay's name is signed.
I'll hold it up and pass it.
Oh, I guess I'll step up.
Okay. Morwen, you step up and can you can write your own name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You sign your name. Okay. Morwen, you can actually go ahead and roll a d4 for me.
No. Okay. I mean, this guy's. What's this gonna do compared to full contract on him? All right. 3.
Okay. as Morwen carves in
And
blood,
I'm like,
for all of you, you saw it like cauterize instantly. Morwen is deep in this guy. You can see the quill about an inch in. You hear this figure, and the air like bursts from between these sewn up lips, begins to bleed. You actually see the gray lady kind of like gesture out, almost distressed by that. Um, and then congratulations, you caught her off guard. And you carve your
win!
name in big block letters across elements of this contract. It like overlaps.
After that first stab, I'll reach out and like grab Morwen's hand back. Just
Okay.
gentle.
Yeah, you do. You say gentle, you let go. Right back in. You have to pull it out again. But Morwen's name is signed. Shay's name is signed. Is anybody doing anything with Heinrich? He's on the ground.
Yep, still dead.
Wake up, buddy. Time to sign your name away.
Let me see. Would cure wounds help?
Yeah, probably.
Or wait, he hasn't died, has he? He's just.
You can still see
passed
these
out.
shallow breaths. So as far as you can tell, he's unconscious and he looks real bad.
Okay, yeah, I'll try.
Him in the face lightly,
I'll try to like,
Okay,
you know,
cat paw
hit him with the
pat in the
cure
face.
wounds. I'll touch his shoulder and see if it gets him up with the cure wounds.
Yeah, sure. Roll for a healing on that.
All right. That is only 9.
Okay.
That was bad rolls.
Heinrich, all of a sudden, after you felt the world swim in front of you, you feel consciousness claw its way back into your mind. You feel terrible. You have this awful feeling in your stomach. It's unnaturally cold for a creature of infernal heritage. This is like an uncomfortable. It's like your body temperature dropped as you were unconscious. But as you pull air into your lungs and kind of cough a little bit, you are conscious with 9 hit points. You see,
Cool.
in the time that you have been unconscious, a nearly naked humanoid has stepped forth from a wrought iron door of certainly infernal nature, similar to the one that you actually saw. I believe only you saw. I can't remember if it was you or Shay, but I believe it was you. Saw it open to release this demon that came to collect Grunter's soul. Very similar. You can see that through it has stepped this almost naked humanoid, eyes, mouth stitched shut. There is infernal writing just like burning and smoldering in the skin. You see in big block letters, Morwen carved into the flesh of this creature, also burning. Much smaller, much neater. You see Shay written also on the lower abdomen.
What'd I miss?
I take out my glasses again and read.
I want to recap literally everything that just happened because I've
So-
been out cold.
Aka puts on his
Exposition later.
glasses and he just tells you everything.
Okay.
He breaks it down for you.
I'm gonna genuinely need other people to remember all that stuff too.
Yeah, we'll get it
Like
notarized.
in real character form, I am
You've got the dumb
feeling
tonight.
cold sweats in the dumb today.
There you go.
But yeah.
Like,
yeah,
hey,
okay.
Hey, buddy,
Got it. So
you got to sign this if you want her to help you.
got it. Hold on. I'm gonna get out my reading glasses and then read
Okay.
the whole thing.
So, unused to this point through the campaign, you watch as Heinrich removes a pair of reading glasses that you obtained in Port Quinn. Not the finest quality. There's a small crack in the right lens, but
After
they
all
function.
this time, yeah.
You put them on. You have to clean them off a little bit. They've gotten all kinds of weird. There's like a weird kind of like you recognize it's biomatter of some kind, maybe off one of the
Sure.
various fingers you've collected. But
Right, that or the poisoned meat or
you put them on, and you can read that this all the things that Aka says. You kind of double check, and they seem to match up.
But like, I'll just be like the 2-finger back of the hand, like tap. I'm gonna like tap it and be like, "This is what we signed up for."
You see the figure wince a little bit away from you.
Like, that's a good deal. You guys did good while I was mapping over there.
Do you see
Sure,
my edition?
I did.
It's right there in the fine lines, I think.
Shrewd negotiator. See what I tell you about her, huh? And I like look over at the gray lady.
She looks back at you and she smiles, but it's a scornful smile.
Yeah, I know. I'm just sort of like, whatever about it. Not letting it get to me kind of thing.
Sure.
Showing her my resilience, if that means anything.
Maybe.
I'm used to signing contracts with people who have more power than me, so this is like, she's like third in line at this point.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, sure. Where's the pen?
Currently, Morwen, and she passes you this black quill. There's no ink. It is a sharp tip.
Yeah,
But you can see what's...
I get what's going on here.
Yeah.
I'll get in closely and I'll just sort of like, as gingerly as possible.
And what do you write?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
When she talked to me before...
She hasn't said her name out loud yet.
I'm writing Heinrich.
Okay. Doesn't say anything.
As far as she knows, that's me.
Okay, are you signing?
Not this one. No,
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay. She smiles, and all of a sudden, this wrought iron door. Those of you who are paying attention, can see there are strange kind of reddish glow coming from the outside. But she turns, and you can see almost against his will, this figure jolt up, and then begin to walk backwards. You can see the muscles almost as if it's trying to resist, but through the door, and then it shuts and begins to fold in on itself before becoming almost nothing, and then disappearing altogether.
Well, that was disturbing.
You are all quite tired, I can tell.
Yeah. We should have put a nice Airbnb free stay situation there next time.
We can find accommodations for all of you. Please, follow. And she turns, you can see the room back to its original size. You see this passage beyond. You see a very small figure just standing in this hallway, 5 feet wide. You see baby Edward, this slightly too well-controlled baby with the shadows just licking out of these all black eyes. He's not holding a knife anymore.
I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna make my eyes flare up.
He doesn't seem to look at you, although you do get this weird sensation of being watched. But he stands there just holding the teddy bear. The nails do still stick out of the teddy bear. He will show you to your quarters for the evening. Me and Akka have more to discuss.
I kind of look over at everyone.
Have fun. Just turning.
I think that's kind of sus because you were like super not into any of this, but like that's cool.
Yeah.
So
But you're doing that to baby Edward, and I'm doing that to Akka. All right, let's go, Edward.
You turn, you see this little baby standing in the hallway. Shay?
Like, as soon as she says, follow Edward, I'm going.
Okay.
Fucking tired. I just want to sleep. I don't want to hear about more contracts.
Absolutely. And you guys are tired. It's kind of been an adrenaline-filled day. You guys have been coming through this place confronted by specters of your past, and the fatigue does set in.
We fought spiders. We fought this baby. Now we're being led by this baby. There's a lot of like crisscross and mixed signals, which is in and of itself exhausting.
Yeah. As you approach, baby Edward turns, see the little wisp of red hair kind of flutter all along the walls in this space. These little tags of paper still kind of rattle. Interesting point, actually. Akka, you cast Cure Wounds. What level did you cast that at?
Just level 1.
Okay. Never mind,
or second level, sorry.
Second level? Okay.
Yeah, level 2. Or no. Level 1. Level 1.
Okay.
Because it was only 9 HP. I can't imagine that a D.
Yeah.
Final answer?
I was looking at the upcast because I had scrolled down, but it was level 1.
Fair enough. So, no problem. You follow baby Edward down these hallways. He stays about 10 feet in front of you. It's a featureless passage of dark stone. You walk for 75 feet, 80 feet, 100 feet, and at the very end, almost seeming to appear suddenly from the shadows, there is a doorway of wood and stone. And as baby Edward approaches, swings open in front of him. Inside, there's a chandelier, these candles impossibly low. This dim light spills across. There are 4 canopied beds. The canopy is like black lace that drifts over a dark wooden frame. It smells a little musty. Each bed maybe 10 feet away from each other. It's like a pretty long room. You hear behind you this very faint child's giggle. And as you look down, baby Edward is gone.
Ew.
Yeah, it's getting used to that now.
Akka, as you watch them walk down the hallway, it's as if it grows a little bit darker, and then you realize there is no hallway left. You kind of turn and look behind you, and there is no doorway left.
Creepy.
You're surrounded in this kind of oval room of stone with the Grey Lady and 2 large ballistae behind her.
Creepy.
She turns to look at you. So, it would appear we have another deal to make, you and I.
What is it that you want from me?
So very many things. To begin with, Arcanum has his pet artificer. I imagine that you have much to learn from a true master. When you're done with him, bring him to me and I'll keep him available for you. I'll even give you a way to return should you need instruction.
And he could teach me more about this?
No. She looks at your arm. That is a separate matter, but one of a place that I am quite familiar.
That's what I guessed.
I can't remove that. I can't give you control, but I know how you could gain it. That is a dark path, Akka.
How would I remove it?
She looks at you and you feel she was like a little short of 4 feet, but as she takes a step closer, she's almost eye level with you. But she steps in, she's again maybe 10 feet away. You smell this aroma of coffee and earth coming off of her.
Magic Tinker.
What was that? Oh,
It's like Magic Tinker my glasses to emit a nice odor.
She closes within 10 feet and she says, "How far into death will you wade, Akka, to gain control over that thing?"
Well, I didn't come here to be a hero like these people. You know, they're trying to save the world. I see it how it is, you know. I'm not trying to rock the boat here. I just want to deal with this, deal with my problem, and be on my way.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
Ooh, that's a 17 plus 1.
So 18. That's still not bad.
I'm wondering, I think
If you want to do
Flash
it
of
right now,
genius, yeah.
there you go.
Plus 5 to that.
That is a total of 13?
No, 23.
Yeah, I did the right thing. I just used the wrong one, the 10 space. 23. Okay. She regards you for a second, Daka. I enjoy making deals. They have secondary benefits for me. They don't always need to be so heavily weighed in my favor, I suppose. You don't understand the forces at work in Alberon. You don't wish to rock the boat, but we're all in the water now. Things stir that haven't in century, in millennia in some cases. I have felt it, Aka, far beneath the ground. There is something dark that travels east, neath the swamp, through the Osferut forest. To what end I can't be sure, but I do know. And she's within 3 feet of you. She's gotten closer and closer. He will not stop. I have felt it in the ripple of psionic energy that originates from his power. He means to take it all. She draws back a couple of inches. You're in it now. Like it or not.
Well, in that case, I want to be as prepared as I can be. And that's where I think...
Aka, are you prepared to survive?
Yes.
Or are you prepared to win?
Well, I started from nothing, and I've made it this far, like it or not. So, I think I'm in it to win it.
Very well.
In it to win it.
You can feel this kind of moment as something kind of flickers, and in her hand, she's now holding something. Give me 1 second here. There's a lot of content for this week. Okay. What I said before about these creatures I have trapped, these Duragar and their steeders. I wasn't lying when I said you needed those spiders to reach the place you need to go. But those are easy enough to procure. You can watch, and the floor suddenly turns this vague, translucent kind of cast. You can still see the gray stone, but you can see through it. And beneath, you can see, and I'll post a picture for you, because this is an encounter that you are now skipping. I'll post this in our general chat on Discord. It's busy this week. Let me make sure that this is correct. Somebody put that in Twitch chat, that would be great. But looking down, you see this large, it's a foundry. You can see this huge vat raised, some kind of steel, but there is dimly glowing molten metal or stone within. Here and there, you see it bubble. And it provides a little bit of light throughout the entire space. This is a long room shaped in a strange way. There is a large crucible, huge, maybe 10 feet across, that hangs from the ceiling on this rusted iron track. You can see it goes across this large vat of molten stuff. Beneath you directly, which you would see as the the southeastern corner, there is a slightly raised platform of graded floor, and you can see a control panel of some kind there. But on the northern side of the room, set up. There is like a weird kind of long, tall lean-to of a strange hide you haven't seen before. It has these stiff, coarse, black, almost wiry hairs that emerge in tufts. And you see sleeping bags of the same, and huddled in this area all around this fire. Um, you see 6 Duragar. You see also to the west of the room, there are 6 massive spiders, large spiders. The bulbous body, grotesque, and they're saddled and bridled to be ridden by these gray dwarves. They could probably carry a full-sized humanoid with a little bit of discomfort. Um, they seem to all be in states of they're like sitting or laying, maybe sleeping. You can see some curled up. You do see charred on one end, the leg of another kind of fallen off to the side of this forge, this liquid metal or stone. Um, in this moment, you can see the dark gray stone kind of shift and swirl around the Duragar before the 15 by 30-foot space in the top part of that room is just taken by the darkness around it. As it crawls away, there are elements of kind of like scale mail that they were wearing. You can see a war pick left here and there. There are no Duragar, just fragments of equipment. And suddenly there's just 6 spiders sleeping in this room. The floor again becomes opaque. I will leave those to be broken and collected for you and your friend. A token of good faith.
I have a proposal, if you will. You help me to control to the best of my ability this affliction of mine. In exchange, I will oversee those 3, their contract to the best of my ability, aiding them as I have been, and assuring that they complete their contract with you.
So you would work for me.
On a strictly temporary basis.
Contractual, of course.
Yeah. In exchange, I would also like access to the ruby shield that I think will also be doing you a favor. As a token of trust, I will take it and bring it to the collective. Keep it out of reach from you so that it can't bother you.
I won't stop you from doing such a thing. I will even remove the wards that I've placed on it. But to break the case is your matter to deal with.
And you wouldn't happen to know where any of the sigils are?
I can tell you where one of them is. But that sounds like another deal.
Yeah, strike that. We'll just keep it with overseeing the operation of their contract. In exchange for assurances that I will neither interfere with your plans nor be interfered with by you for any of my plans, being to handle this to the best of my ability.
And what if one of us does not hold up our end of the bargain?
Well, I will clearly be holding up my end of the bargain because, again, I recognize my situation. So that's why the shield was sort of my assurance. But if there were something else, I have nothing.
If there was something else, there isn't.
What you're looking for is something that I cannot give. But if you wish for trinkets for your friends, along the path, look to the ruins of Caldor. Of Caltrod. Within those places, you'll see what our people have endured, and perhaps find something that could help both of us even further against that which walks beneath.
That sounds like another contract.
If
One
you
that
wish.
the other three may be more interested in, as a matter of fact. But I guess the only thing that matters to me is dealing with this. So either you can help me or not. I've set my terms.
Very well. She moves her hand, and you see the doorway reappear. You won't get lost.
So, no to the deal then?
You're very perceptive, Aka.
I'll turn and walk away.
Okay, do so. Man, and you're not even protected by the original deal. That's gonna be rough. Okay, so Aka, you walk for a little bit, but this entire exchange takes about 15 minutes. Shay, Morwen, Heinrich, as you find yourselves in these dark accommodations, is there anything that you would like to do?
Yeah, I'd
Laying
like to
down.
check all the beds to see which one's softest and
I'm laying down the
claim the
leftmost
softest.
one and just
Okay.
not falling asleep because I can't, but like doing the equivalent.
Okay, so you
I still check.
into this left bed. We'll get back to that in a second. The bed is incredibly soft, very pillowy, and it kind of takes your body in the armored form and sinks deep. The canopy does provide a little bit of protection from the dim light. Suddenly, the canopy, as Morwen's hands and press down on the bed before darting back and running. You hear the footsteps to the next bed. Morwen, what was your perception check?
I didn't roll one.
Make a
Let
perception
me,
check.
She's too busy continuously writing pipes all over my
Yes,
shit
I remember that
last
from last session. Yep.
She's still doing it. I got about
Peeps.
40.
Anywho, 17.
Okay. You discover that the bed that Heinrich is in is actually probably the softest.
I stay in it.
Okay.
For
So,
sure.
Heinrich, you see this pause disappear. You hear a little distant further. And then suddenly you hear coming back through the canopy, Morrowind appears. And yeah, that's what happens. Shay, what are you doing?
I'm too exhausted to move. It's
You
just
don't
like,
even
fine,
need
whatever.
a bed, so I don't care. I'm freaking getting
What do
comfy.
you mean I don't need a bed? You need to lay down every once in a while if you're physically exhausted.
Well, choose one of the other ones. There's plenty to pick from. This is mine.
I'm not
Taking
saying
an
anything. I'm just also not
unoccupied bed.
Okay. You take one of the other beds that is just as comfortable as far as you can tell. And you lay down. It is fairly comfortable. For you, it's like almost too soft actually, but you know, it's a comfortable bed for most. About
I still
15
take
minutes.
out my poster and Frank,
Okay.
despite sharing this bed already.
So and it's like a queen size bed, a little bit larger, but Heinrich, in this canopied space, suddenly there is now Frank the skull, and
I'm face down. I don't see
Yeah.
anything. I'm just
Okay,
like,
you hear it. You hear the uncrinkling, and you know that there is a poster of Guntir as the Gazelle, this kind of legendary crime figure, now also sharing the bed with you. It is a 4-person party, technically.
great.
Gang's all here.
Menage a quad.
So that happens, and Aka, you rejoin the group. You can see through the gauzy kind of film Shay, this very small figure, this large bed, kind of alone, and then to the left, Morwen and Heinrich and Frank, and like a poster. It's like a whole little dorm set up inside this space.
Is there
Black
anywhere?
lights. We got a lava lamp.
There's
I'm
several
going.
different
I'm
places.
just going to the bed. I'm going to bed.
Okay. You take your own
Oh, fuck
and you go
this.
to bed. As you begin this long rest, is anybody doing anything before they go to sleep and we enter Heinrich time?
Well,
Heinrich time
actually-
doesn't work in this area, so the only thing I'll be doing is just reading my Elvish book when I'm rested enough to do so.
I'm
We gotta
actually-
go to Heinrich time.
Were we awake when Akka came in? Like,
Yeah.
did you come in way later?
No, like 50 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna
1-5.
just be like,
Poke your head out.
yeah. So what was that all about, huh?
I don't want to talk about it.
Shay, this conversation, by the way, is happening over you. Like, there's one bed about 10 feet, your bed, and then 10 feet, and then the Morwen Heinrich bed. So just for what it's worth.
Oh,
You're not sleeping till this conversation's over.
I, like,
you'll share a
turn
bunch of
and I'm
stuff
just,
with
like,
the,
facing
great lady who you
the
were,
wall.
pretty skeptical of all this whole time and not tell your friends. That's cool. That's cool. Well, you have a good sleep, Akka.
You see the large green eyes fade into the shadows before the gauzy.
No,
And you could
very-
barely see to begin with because you're looking through one layer of your canopy, through both layers of Shay's canopy, and then to Morwen. So you barely saw it to begin with, but it just.
Oh well, I had turned away.
Reminder,
Okay,
I
so you
don't
can-
have green eyes. I have jar golden eyes.
Sure.
So yellow.
But through all those layers.
Anyways, do you all go to sleep? Is there anything else you wish to do?
I thought there was something, but
I
Wait,
wouldn't
did
know.
the Grey Lady have gold eyes? Whose gold eyes are these?
The Grey Lady's eyes, you did see them. They're brown tinged with red. Almost lines that kind of seem to be underneath the brown. You're talking about the eyes in the jar?
No, the box. No, just because they were somebody's. I thought they might be connected to her. I guess maybe they still might be, but we don't know. That's okay. I'm not
certain she already
not gonna
mentioned
stay
them
up all
directly.
night
Make-
thinking about it.
Make an intelligence check. I know
She
it's not your
mentioned them
strong suit.
directly.
She
Huh?
did.
She mentioned them directly in that rhyming scheme.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I signed the contract, so I read it.
Wait, what am
Akka
I'm
also
rolling
said it out loud twice.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
rolling-
intelligence check, flat.
Okay, that would be a 9.
Okay. You remember, as Heinrich says it, you remember Akka saying some kind of rhyme, but you read it and you kind of got tired, and you were trying to look for Edward and you're thinking about the imp, and you can't remember what he said.
Yeah,
But Heinrich, you do remember.
Is that right?
She read, or Akka read out the words that she had presented on this contractual wretch that had said the words to the spell are gold eyes of 6 that saw and see, gold eyes of 6 that belong to thee. One of a devil, one of a skink, one of a toad, one of a mink, one that cries and one that flies. Looking at this box, you certainly see a few of them smaller. Some seem reptilian in nature. They might perhaps match up. The only one that is not in that box is one that continually weeps or cries. That would be the missing one.
None of the puzzle eyes were that color, right?
No, those were adamantine. They were sculpted.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good idea though. I like that idea.
Yeah, there's something related to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I begin reading my book.
Okay.
I'm gonna read Elvish until I feel smart again after the
You
long
read a
rest.
little Elvish. I will say you gain about an hour and a half of Elvish. You
You're gonna start making me
struggle
do
through
decimals. Ugh.
Morrowind.
53.5 hours.
this. You can set your intelligence back to normal.
Yay, not that high still.
Heinrich, as you do not sleep, through wording of this particular curse, you are keeping your intelligence negative until you can find a way to either break it or sleep. However, you do gain the benefits of a long rest.
Okay. I'm going straight to Grey Lady and the end of long rest time, but
Okay.
that's later.
The night passes. Now and then, Heinrich, you're aware of movement at the door. About once every 2 hours or so, you see the small figure of baby Edward just stand in the doorway. He seems to just check in and then leave.
Ooh, scratch that. I'm going to go to him instead.
Okay.
We'll go there later.
Towards the end of this long rest, Heinrich, you being awake, you see baby Edward kind of pop in at one point. And if you wish, you can follow him.
Would I have noticed that too?
Yeah. 4 hours, you're in a trance. I would say in the trance, no, but you're only in it for 4 hours. So you come to, and you do see baby Edward kind of coming in. And then leaving.
Creeps me out.
Yeah.
I'm going to get up and follow him out after he exits the room.
Okay.
After he exits the room, if I notice that Heinrich has gotten up to leave, I'm going to follow Heinrich to see what he's up to.
Okay.
And when Heinrich gets up in my sleep, I take up the whole bed.
A series of unfortunate events unfold. You can see, and Shay, you wake up as all of this happens because it's like right at the end of a long rest. You watch as Heinrich quietly, as quiet as he can, still loud enough, gets out of bed and trundles out of the room past. You don't really see what he's going towards. Like 60 seconds pass. As soon as you hear the footsteps fade down the hall, you see Akka, much more quiet, considering he's wearing almost the same level of armor. Get out of bed and slide through the door. You hear, and you hear sheets moving as Morwen starfishes on the bed. Are you doing anything or just kind of hanging back?
Hanging back.
Okay. Heinrich, you step into the hall, and as you do so, baby Edward is 5 feet in front of you, just facing you.
And be like, you.
Tilts the head to the side.
Fix it. Not going
You
to be
see the
much
head
help to your
look
mom unless
up
you fix it.
for a second, and you see this little baby's face pout for just a moment. And he looks at you, and he very quickly, in that kind of way you saw before, seems to kind of partially phase and then rephase, and he steps through you.
Uh-huh.
And you can reset your intelligence score.
Be like, thank you. Sorry for stealing your toys. And I'll go back in the room.
As you turn around, baby Edward is gone.
Okay.
Akka, you step into a long, dark hallway. You see these gray walls on the other side of you. Maybe at the end, maybe 30 feet away, there's an intersection, a T hallway.
No
You don't see
Heinrich.
baby Edward or Heinrich, no.
And if I turn around, is it not the same door that I came through?
Bingo. As you turn around, it is
You
a
lost,
long,
boy.
dark hallway.
Guess I'm walking.
Hey, he's walking here.
I'm
Why was
gonna,
that
like,
funny? That was so
I know,
stupid
like,
and
it was so
unrelated.
stupid.
Okay,
So all of you
That's
can
where my
mark off a
brain's at
long
right now.
rest.
I did it. Personal,
you did
mini,
it.
tiny side quest.
Yeah. You got your intelligence back. Well done.
All it takes is being polite.
It's the contract that you signed, actually. And
Well, it
baby
was-
Edward referenced it, and he's bound to certain things.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So you have your intelligence back. You
2 more
all
points.
awake. You recognize that Akka is gone.
There you go, talking to the Grey Lady again, huh?
Yeah, his new best friend.
Ah, jeez.
What's up with that? Dude hides a lot of secrets, I say while I'm rolling up the gazelle poster, because, like,
Talking to
who does
me
that?
and Shay. You know what?
I'm the only one who's probably.
The
Well,
next.
I have secrets, but. Well, actually, I don't. You guys just haven't really asked me.
Also true.
I feel like the next Finger Gang shirt should just be like one of these.
Share no secrets.
Yeah.
So, Akka.
The
you
truth
walk?
is in here, not out there.
I mean, there's nowhere else I can go, right? Can
You
I
walk down
like,
this hallway, and in the
Really?
course of this darkness, you can hear the Grey Lady's voice. Signs of mutual trust are hard to come by, Akka. and often they earn you eyes that are unpleasant to have upon you. Eyes of mistrust. Us. Kind of fades. And as the voice fades into nothing, you see the end of the hallway. It's a small circular room. On this sort of table, you can see it's like a shield of sorts, very bright, not gold probably, but as you get near, if you would like, you can make an investigation check, a perception check, whatever kind of check you would really like in order to discern information about this.
All right, I guess I'm gonna see what it is first.
Okay, this is perception check.
Perception.
Okay, so you stay like 20 feet away.
Yeah, that's a 14 plus 21.
The shield has ribbing of metal. It looks almost like the edges of it kind of curve in on themselves to form like a middle seam. You get the sense that there is a magical element to this, although it's a weird one.
All right,
Not something similar to something that you've encountered before.
I'm gonna go closer and investigate it.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Better check. That's 28.
28. Getting closer to it, this is very odd. You don't see signs of this being worked. You don't see, and you, with your background, you can usually tell when you look at an item, like you can see marks that like, this got too cold too quickly. And, these are mistakes that you wouldn't have made. You look at a lot of work and you can see a story behind it. This isn't like that. You don't see signs of this being worked at all. This probably created through magical means or otherwise in unnatural ways. And as you get close to it, you get the vague smell of sulfur. But just for a moment. Honk, honk. Just for a moment. You smell that sulfur smell, and then you get closer to it and looking in. What was your roll?
28.
28. This is an interesting shield. As you kind of touch it a little bit, size. Okay. With a 28, looking at the shield, sure. The metal has a luster that is too bright for this place. And so it has almost this quality where it makes the shadows around you a little darker. It's easy to get sort of transfixed by its nature. And you would imagine that in some way has something to do with its abilities. But again, you can hear the Grey Lady's voice in the back of your mind. If you want a token, here it is. You hear behind you, and turning, you could see the doorway that you had stepped through previously. Would you like to take the shield?
I'm going to think message to her. And what do you expect of me in return?
Okay. In response, you get... Just give me a sec. I don't want to say this wrong. All that I want from this is the satisfaction of knowing I'm right.
What does she mean by that?
Make an insight check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20? There is something manipulative in her words. You're not sure what it is. It's hard to discern an end game. You do get the sense that there is an infernal bend to the shield, as bright as it may seem. And maybe there's something to that the shield seems like something it's not. But hard is the Grey Lady to read, especially through a psychic message.
Oh, man. Does it look cursed again?
With that investigation check, you don't see any, again, there's no writing. There's nothing that would indicate a curse to you. I would say if you would like, make an Arcana check.
I'm wondering, like, is this gonna put me in another, like, non-written contract?
Sure.
Wait, not dirty 20, natural 20.
Natural 20 for a total of
For what was I rolling for? Arcana?
Arcana.
35.
Looking at this shield, there are elements of it that speak of illusion, perhaps. This shield, it doesn't have a contract associated with it. You don't get the sense that it's going to bind you to anything. There is a game at play that is not necessarily involving the shield directly, perhaps. You don't get the sense that there is any kind of arcane curse. There is nothing that you see that would cause it to be a direct trap.
It's. I'm gonna think, is this going to help me with this? Or is this going to be just more of the same? This.
You hear in the back of your mind, across different directions, this small chuckle. Just comes from different directions. Neither. It's just a token.
I guess I'm gonna take it and be like, well, thank you for your token. I humbly accept.
You pick it up. It's lighter than you would imagine, given the size and the material, metal. But you pick it up, and that's all that happens. If you wish, you can return, and you can see elements of like a flowing canopy of one of the beds through the room. You'd imagine back to the room that you came from.
Yeah, I guess I'll walk back there.
For all the rest of you, you watch as Akka enters, holding this beautiful shield. Shay.
And I'm going to immediately set about preparing the ritual to identify.
Okay, you set it down on the ground. All of you can see it as Akka begins to do this.
Got a piece of parchment and start painting on it.
Shay, there are elements of this, although it's so hard to really discern the craftsmanship on this is pretty good. And it's hard because it's meant to look kind of natural, but it clearly isn't. There's something about this that speaks of maybe a background similar to Gamble's in terms of how it was made. Morwen, this is a shiny shield. It looks to be made of pure gold. And as it comes in, it feels like everything around you kind of becomes dark because it is like the largest gold piece you've ever seen, and it is thick.
Getting close to it.
As you get closer to it, there's like a warmth to it. You could imagine placing this on the table within the captain's quarters of the Raging Harmony on top of a pile of other loot. How amazing of a haul that would be. Beautiful shield. Heinrich, you see this shield, and in a way, it reminds you of elements of Nazara's clothing from Uriel's watch, the heavy armor, similar in terms of the simplicity and quality that it's made with, perhaps, but there's an element to it that feels like it could almost pull you closer to your connection with Helm.
Is it gold?
Akka. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it's made of solid gold. But Akka puts it down and it doesn't sound, it's not like a clunk. It seems like a fairly light object.
Mm-hmm.
Akka, you take 10 minutes to cast Identify. Is anybody doing anything over the course of that 10 minutes?
Staring at it.
Okay. You stare at
it.
What level spell is Identify?
1.
First level.
Yeah, I actually know that because I have it. Just remembered.
10 minutes pass. And because it is 10:25, this is where we're going to take our break. So it is 10:25 for those of you who have kind of hung out and stuck with us through this. I know I saw Talon, and we didn't see you last week, Talon, so we're happy to see you back. You see me on Dawson, and Dawson, you're probably streaming tonight. I hope that's going well. Everybody else who came and hung out, thank you so much for doing so. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break. You'll see a countdown up here in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. When that hits 0, we'll be right back. We'll see you then. Howdy, folks, and welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Thank you for sticking with us at the break. Hope you enjoyed the art. We can jump right back into our session. So, Akka, let me set our music here. Akka, you kneel down, you cast Identify, placing this beautiful golden shield that you had just obtained from this side hall. Down on the ground, you surrounded it with the elements of your ritual to cast Identify magic. Or Identify, just Identify. The rest of you watch the runes that you paint, almost calligraphy in nature. They glow to life. The spell works. It activates. Nothing. Akka, you learn nothing from the spell. You feel it take hold, but it's as if the properties of this are beyond the power of that spell to unmask.
That does not give me comfort in this gift.
Mm-mm.
Akka and the uncomfortable gift.
The rest of you just watch as Akka stares at this beautiful
Yeah,
shield.
just kind of stare at it for a while and just kind of
That's
be
what
like,
I've been doing. So now
Yeah.
we've got two people.
I know what he's doing, so I'm waiting for him to do it. And
Okay.
after what presumably is the correct amount of time, I'd be like, well,
Can I have
I
it?
continue to just sit there, or like I imagine I'm like on my knees, just kind of kneeled next to it, just kind of like
Sure.
fuck.
lost your touch there, guy.
Can I have it?
I'm not responding.
If I can't have it, say something. Well,
She gave you a choice there.
I'm gonna, if you try to grab, I'm gonna like smack you away.
I just want to touch it.
Okay,
So-
so Morwen, briefly, you touch it
So
before
when
Akka slaps your paw away. It's metal. It's a little cool to the touch.
So when you described it earlier, you said that it somehow made me feel like it would bring me closer to what exactly?
Hell.
God.
And yeah,
Literally.
the nature of it is
My
similar
favorite
in
scene.
ways to Nazara's plate mail armor that you had seen when she
Uh-huh.
spoke with you that one time in the hotel room. I believe back in Squall's End.
Yeah, up in Goldglow's estate, I thought.
Uh,
Did we
Nah.
reconnect at Squall's End?
No, I think you're right. You guys, it was in Coltram. I just can't remember where exactly. It wasn't. No, you're right. It was in the Alkin, the
Yeah, she came down through the
foreign
skylight.
dignitary hotel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do remember Nazar's armor, similar, not quite as brightly glowing, definitely more battle worn, but this beautiful, natural-looking metal weave almost to plate mail.
Is this
And so in a
Dionic?
way, make an investigation check if
I
you
mean,
want
I'll
to
say
get
that
closer
out
to the
loud to
door.
Akka
Okay.
as well. But
What
I
did
will.
you say?
I'm asking if this is diotic metal. It looks weird,
Is it?
golden, but
It's I can't tell, right?
Doesn't look like diotic metal.
Yeah.
dirty 20 for investigation.
You get close
Comparing
to it.
it to like the pieces
Sure.
that we have.
And first off, Heinrich, you've carried a chunk of this around for a large part of this campaign.
Yeah.
Of the diotic metal. This is not diotic metal. It doesn't have the same almost blue crystalline structure of an otherwise solid metal that upper realm material has.
And it wasn't manipulated to not look as such, because she did say she would get us diotic metal, so that's why I'm
Correct.
wondering if this is.
Well.
I air quotes.
She pointed you in a rough direction as to where it could be. But looking at this, it doesn't appear to be disguised. You don't get the sense necessarily.
Okay.
It's interesting. There's more to it for sure than you can discern. It's weird that Akka just walked through the doors holding it.
Yeah, and that Morwen's reaction to something that, I mean, I guess it's obvious because it's gold.
Yeah.
But
But more
I'd
is
be
just
into
that
this anyway.
everyone
Akka,
seemed to react to it, and that struck me as weird.
yeah, absolutely. And it's also very weird. And you guys had all pointedly mentioned Akka, like weird little thing with the gray lady, and you just watch Akka disappear and then reappear with
Yeah.
this beautiful shield. So, that does strike you. But aside from that, kind of, it doesn't seem to be overtly
does it seem like a form of entrapment similar to my life before this campaign?
It's
Like,
hard to tell
Okay.
because even back then you made a deal that you were not in any way fully like aware of the consequences of. So
Right.
you imagine it would be really hard to discern that.
From
It doesn't
this,
seem
yeah.
to be.
Okay.
It doesn't have the same gravity to it.
Okay. Well, then I'm just gonna get up and be like, "Cool shield, then I guess." What are we doing?
Wait, are we just gonna ignore like what the hell just happened?
We went to go talk to the Grey Lady, and she gave him a shield. Looks pretty obvious.
Where's my shield? I want one of those.
Mm.
Okay, I want one of those. Can I have this one though?
It's true. Why did she give you this shield?
I don't know.
What was your situation before then? When you
Yeah, how was your date?
I thought she could help me, and she couldn't. But then
Help
she
you?
gave me this token, and
For what?
that's it.
In exchange for what?
She said something about knowing that she was right.
Is this related to the helping you thing you just kind of
I
mentioned
know
and stepped away from?
exactly that much.
All right. Well, if
I
you don't
think
feel like opening up,
we're in over
kind of
our
us
heads
or
here.
welcome to the ocean, my friend. If you feel like it, you know what? No pressure. Never mind. Don't want to set you more on edge than just being here already does.
Yeah, no, but what Heinrich was saying, if you ever want to, tell us what's up, we're all eyes. I bring up my jar of eyes.
She meant ears, and I'll minor illusion
I
them all
don't have
into
a
ears.
jar of ears.
I'm gonna minor illusion those. Just like kind of like I'll tap the top and make it do like a slow wipe where it looks like they're all turning into ears. Just to make Morwen freak out.
It's like an old school PowerPoint transition, and all of a sudden it's just ears instead of eyes.
Yeah, it's like pixels that grow slightly larger, closer to the side of the border of the image that I'm wiping.
Yeah.
That's not what Frank wants.
All right, fine. God. Shall we? What are we doing? Where are we going? She was gonna give us direction or something. We got some deals out of this pact that we have to extract from her. Something, some benefit, a boon of some kind. You read it, right? I read it too.
Yeah, did we get our own copy of the thing?
She did
we
not
have our own
email
wretch
you.
copy.
Dude following us.
She's going back, so one of the guys.
This next mission is very stealthy. I'll send your contract with you. He's just screaming behind us.
Just weeping through the sewn shut eyelids. You did not get a copy. There's no PDF in your email. You pointedly saw this wretch almost pulled back through that wrought iron door that then folded itself into non-existence.
I wrote down what I could. It's the eye that cries, 3 Kalvraki, 6 Steeders, and other occupants.
Does anybody speak Undercommon?
No.
So, you're not seeing it, unfortunately.
Also, aren't we getting an ally or something too?
Yeah, that's the gifts are. We can choose use of an ally no longer than 9 days, infernal gifts, and access to a back way into the Cold Forge. Those were our options. She also mentioned making sure that those who were in door are gone, i.e., removed from their homeland, not necessarily killed. And then Valcrisis is the Dragonborn who can assist us with trying to do the Cold Forge stuff. Right? And she'll let him go with us.
Specifically, the contract stated that should he survive all of this, he would be allowed to go.
Right. So, wording of that. Intentional.
All right, no one kill him.
What, the Dragonborn?
Yeah.
Why would we? We need him.
I don't know.
That's
I'm
why
just
Morwen's
saying.
saying don't kill him.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Very
Correct.
clever.
With both of our intelligences back being up to 12, it still seems to be lingering. Let's find her and figure this out and then go, I guess.
Wait, has baby Edward come back yet?
No, but turning and looking at the door for baby Edward, it's interesting. You can see just beyond. The hallway has shifted yet again. Dark stone, but there are 3 doors. You can see there are little plaques on each of them. And getting a little closer and looking, one of them does appear to look like baby Edward. The other seems to be more of like a teddy bear in nature. The third is there specifically because Morwen requested it. There is an icon of an imp. And Akka, to your point, you'd imagine that through each of these doors is an ally for you.
I don't want the imp as an ally. I just wanted his freedom.
That would probably be freedom for him.
Is that the only thing? What about these other boons?
Oh my god, we're like
Or do we get all of them?
characters.
Infernal gifts. It seemed like it was. We chose which one, right?
So you're choosing an ally. You're going to be given a way, a back entrance to the Cold Forge.
Oh, so it's all
Safe
three.
And-
passage through her domain.
And the infernal gifts.
And the infernal gifts was kind of like the other option as opposed to all of this.
I already got a few of those, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I have one?
Sorry.
Ugh. I want an infernal gift, damn it. The only one who doesn't have one. Shay, do you have one? Ah, okay, I feel less left out then.
These doors are in front of you. What would you like to do?
Sorry. So one more time, it was
Baby,
Edward,
teddy bear,
Oh,
or
the-
imp?
teddy bear, baby. How funny would it be if we went from trying to kill him to following him to giving him orders?
Orders
Ooh,
is a
that's-
what word.
I mean,
but he'll help
the
you out.
concept is being a party member, I guess.
I mean, in all fairness, we do know that what he can do.
Yeah,
I saw the teddy bear change a candle. I don't know if that's going to be very useful.
right, and we
He
kind
did
of
it quietly.
we did destroy a lot of them quite easily too. But he's also probably the most connected to her. Well, they all probably are. So in terms of reporting any potential missteps on our end.
Shay, you have the highest passive perception. Anybody else have a natural? Not a natural. 20 passive. Was it you, Akka? Do you have one, or is it Guntir? It was Guntir.
Guntir.
Shay, you hear. It's almost like you sense a change in the air current behind you. And turning, you can see standing kind of back to where the bed that you had occupied, actually, because it's closer to the center of the room. You can see sitting on the edge of the bed, the canopy kind of pooled around her shoulders, the Grey Lady. And from this position, from behind all of you, although Shay can see her when she speaks, she says, "Are these allies not enough for you? Did you have different ones in mind?"
Well, question related loosely. If we don't choose the imp, is he's still good to get out of here?
She looks at you and smiles. "For free? No, but should you fulfill your contract, I'll set the imp free.
Ah, that's very nice of you. Thank you. Very kind.
If we're being honest, I don't remember why he's there."
Okay.
Just gonna message to Shay, the baby?
I'm just gonna ask you.
Best.
The baby?
Best I've got.
And then all three of us turn it, look at Akka, and go, the baby.
Hey,
I am
Miss-
not
Miss
happy with
Lady-
this choice.
Miss Gray Lady, ma'am. So Edward, what's he like as a partner?
She turns, you can
cool?
see the smile
cooperate
spreads
with the team?
wide. Edward is bound to my service, and he will listen to me. He will help you achieve the goals of this contract. Nothing more.
Okay, but if we tell him to like chill, because it'll be in all of our benefits if he does, is he gonna chill? Or like, you know what I mean?
Or is he just gonna go stabby stab stab at will?
Yeah.
Edward.
I mean, I'm
is
reading her
all-
reaction too.
Yeah, sure. Make an insight check
Yeah.
then.
Just assume
Me
that in
too,
this whole
but
thing,
it's gonna
I'm-
be in a worse
Sure.
way than Heinrich.
yeah,
Probably.
'Cause he's just better at it.
Just
but I'm
statistically,
trying.
yeah.
23.
Okay.
15.
All right. With the 15, you don't get much. She's hard to read. With the 23, the reaction is almost confusion at first, although very well hidden. And you then kind of
Throwing
see her
off, damn.
make her mind up a little bit and then say, Baby Edward is not of a chill type, given
Wow.
his background. But
Yeah, that's what-
he will not fly off the handle, as it will.
What's his background? We need to do a background search on all of our potential allies. So, do you have his resume?
There's
Make a persuasion
contacts and
check if you really want to try. High DC.
Hmm,
Where's
Where's my-
my pen?
that would be a 27.
Oh, holy,
I'm like, I
Holy
keep rolling
fuck.
higher and higher with her.
Okay.
holy fuck.
But let's see if it's
She
enough.
smiles wide. Edward is not what he seems. Just the element that is perceivable to you. Morwen, would you like to see baby Edward for what he is?
Is it gonna traumatize me?
You can see she squints. Make a wisdom saving throw. You can choose to fail it if you would like. You feel the fur on the back of your neck stand up slightly.
What the hell? That was a dirty 20, which is the best wisdom roll I've ever rolled, with the option to fail. But it's a good roll, so I'm keeping it.
All right.
Smart. You don't want her in your brain.
A 20 is also a failure.
Ah, darn.
Well, it's a win in my book.
It was
But a
very
good
close
fight.
to being a success. You feel this tingling in the back of your mind. You feel fingers almost moving through the individual lobes of your brain, seeming to pick and pull at memories. She looks at you, and in this moment, you feel as if something is pulled away from your mind. And she smiles. You will see him for what he is, just as you asked.
I don't know if I did ask. I just asked if it would traumatize me. But let's go for it.
She turns and regards all of you as Morwen whispers this out. So, if there's a different idea for an ally, I'm open to suggestions, but these are the ones I have most ready.
What about you?
Oh yeah, you want to come along?
Are you
I
talking
choose
to the
you,
gray
Gray
lady?
Almost,
Heinrich,
almost in jest.
Heinrich,
but-
make a persuasion check.
Almost in jest, but kind of.
You know what, Heinrich? I will say, make a persuasion or intimidation check. Your choice, and part of this is given the interactions that you guys have had. If you want to make it kind of like a challenge,
Yeah, challenge.
okay, make an intimidation check.
Okay, cool. minute difference between the two. Well, not in percentile. Nah. That is a 15.
Part of it is almost okay. 20.
20. Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Wait,
Thanks.
I help. No, pat him on the back. Go get him.
Ouch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just kidding. It's the other shoulder.
Oh.
She will forget later on, though. I
will.
promise you this.
Yeah.
She smiles wide. As a rule, I try not to leave my domain for too long, but I could accompany you past Caltrod, perhaps.
Yeah, give us a little tour. See what you've done at the place.
Caltrod was once a place of my people, and was taken from us.
These deep singers, you keep saying.
All right. Well, if you're the chosen ally, guys, let me go see what Baby Edward is.
Well, he's coming as the ally, but she's only come along as...
We've got
but
two
I
for
thought
one.
you chose me.
Yeah, we don't need
we're
Baby
gonna go with
Edward.
the baby, but you were gonna come along just to, show us the door, basically.
That isn't what the contract says.
What the hell's wrong with you?
You don't want Baby Edward?
She moves
over the
her
Okay.
hand,
lady?
and you do see the 3 doors just disappear, blink out of existence, and suddenly this new one shifts through the darkness, and you can see the doorway is open. And Daka, you see a room that you had seen previously, kind of long and stretched out. And at the end of them, you can see standing upright and very odd. They're still in an unnatural way, and you see elements kind of dripping from these long mandibles that come out. Huge spiders, easily about 10 feet long, the thorax bulbous and swollen. There are saddles on these. In front of them, you could see scraps of armor, a weapon here or there, little elements of blood, maybe hair, but otherwise fairly clean.
Kind of just like, ooh, I know what happened.
There's a doorway in the far sort of wall, and that seems much larger, perhaps an entrance or exit. And then these spiders. The Grey Lady suddenly, and now floating. And I would imagine, Akka, you would imagine this is how she was at your eye level previously, now seeing it a little bit less involved. She drifts into this chamber. Would you all like to follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we've got no choice, really.
You step into this chamber, and instantly it's warmer. This molten metal enclosed within this sort of metal vat of sorts. You see this tall crucible over top, kind of leaning. You can see it's empty at the moment. As you approach these spiders, they are large, and they are certainly aggressive creatures. You see these huge mandibles. You see at the end of each of its 8 long legs these hooked, almost talons. You can see the legs also, strange sheen to them. They appear to be almost adhesive in nature. Does anybody have a nature score above, or a nature skill? Is anybody proficient in nature? Nobody's ever proficient in
Great.
nature.
I have a
That is what
plus
you know.
5.
That's what you can kind of tell. That's great. Congratulations. You know, Akka, that these are spiders of sorts.
Speeders.
And interestingly, she gestures to all of these. You can see there's a weird look to the arachnid eyes. They're almost kind of glazed over. So, shall we set out?
Yeah.
Let's ride.
I'm gonna go mount one, I guess.
Okay,
Or
you walk
attempt
up
to
to
mount
it.
one.
As you walk up,
pull
you can
out
see the
another book.
face. Sure,
I'm
you
gonna
can
pull
see
out
the
a little
face.
thing and just like, oh yeah, great idea for story. The ride at the Great Lady.
Okay,
No one
you
will
begin
ever
to write
fucking
down.
believe this. This is ridiculous what we're doing right now.
You begin to write down elements of the story.
And like in the whole grand scheme of things, growing up in like a Port Quinn and like normal city, now I'm like underground, a lost forge with like a psychic grade extinct race of dwarves riding spiders.
You went
Pretty
from
rad.
being like a kid in the slummiest district of Port Quinn Your only escape was really books and seeing the occasional play when your mom could afford
Right.
it.
Now I'm
And
writing better ones than I read.
yeah, for sure. It's interesting to think about. Akka, as you approach this large spider, which you imagine is what she has been referring to as steeders, you can see the face, it
Type.
turns, all these
Speeders.
large eyes, steeders.
Speeders.
Sure. You can see the large spider-like eyes kind of glazed, but the head turns to face you. You can hear through the mouth this kind of, and you see this kind of saliva dripping, but there's a dazed nature to it. And you climb onto it with no problem. As you do, you kind of lean into one of the legs, and it takes you a second. It's hard to pull off, and you'd imagine in combat that's like a DC hard. That would be difficult to do, but you climb aboard without issue. And as you do, the spider easily bears your weight and stands up. The legs shockingly strong, no trouble whatsoever. It lifts you and all your armor up. Anybody else?
Yes.
Okay, you climb aboard another one. It's worth noting, and I will say this, and Akka, you can do with this information what you wish. Of all of these steeders, there is one that is slightly different. This fur paler. It seems to be albino in nature. The eyes still kind of this navy blue, but the fur is almost like a dirty gray. A little bit bigger than the others.
I'd take the big one.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
You mean hers? The gray lady's gray steeder?
You get the
Oh, I
sense that she
assumed
floats.
the special one was hers.
She's probably not going to take one of these things. Akka, I will say, of the Duragar that you saw taken out the previous night, one of them seemed a little bit more high ranking, fancier armor. You just saw him for a second before the darkness took him. So hard to really tell. You'd imagine that was probably the leader, and this was probably his.
Yeah.
But as you mount on it, again, just nothing, no real reaction to it. Shay, you climb on, you hear a little bit of the as it just kind of drips venom. No problem. You climb onto it. You guys mount yours as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You do so. You watch. The Grey Lady doesn't mount one of the remaining two, but the door beyond does swing a little bit open, ajar, and all of a sudden, all of your spiders turn and begin to walk. Akka's first, then Shay's, then Morwen's, then Heinrich's. And Heinrich, behind you, you're aware, maybe 10 feet back, Grey Lady floats, keeping pace. These spiders can walk fairly quickly. They walk about as fast as you do, maybe a little faster. And you crawl out through these doorways. You get down here. You come out and come into a cavern, almost maybe 10 feet tall, 5 feet narrow in places. And on these places, these spiders easily crawl up onto the walls and carry you around. You don't just stay on the ground. There are times where you have to kind of hang on because these spiders will just move up and very easily. You would imagine, even with your weight, could just walk on the ceiling. There's strength to these legs. They could probably jump pretty well. You walk for maybe 10 minutes along this cavern, and the Grey Lady stays quiet. Is there anything that you guys are doing in this time?
Is there anything around, or is it still just kind of like
Make a perception check.
cavernous?
Still got these papers? Or is this more like natural caverns that don't need to be transformed
This
into her
is more
territory?
like natural cavern.
Okay.
It was a 21.
21. You look around at the sides of this, and there are elements you can now see. There are footprints. There are worn grooves, not grooves, but maybe signs of equipment kind of banging into the walls it's dragged through. This appears to be a more natural place. It is a single cavern. About 10 minutes go by, and it begins to get a little wider. The ceiling begins to open up. You begin to feel more warmth. You can smell volcanic kind of activity. And the temperature steadily rises until you come to a section where the ground and the room beyond opens up. Wide, large walls. You recognize that you've stepped into an underground canyon of sorts. lighting the elements that come up along these platforms and large swaths of land that are broken by cracks that run down to whatever lies beneath. There's a soft orange-red glow that would indicate probably magma or lava or something. All across these individual elements that were probably at one point one solid place, there are old, worn rope bridges that string across. You can see elements of broken down buildings, ruins that seem to be probably sized for dwarves or similar creatures. The spiders march on, and they begin to approach the first of these rope bridges. Are you guys doing anything in this moment?
Hey, Grey Lady.
She kind of all of a sudden floats about 5 feet further and now right next to you.
So I've been wondering about how you let's see here, how do I phrase it? Stabilize your dimension on top of the pre-existing structure. God, feels good to have my brain back. um, we kind of accidentally entered in, and there was just these pieces of paper kind of posted up everywhere. Kind of just feel like there's a connection between all that. How's that work?
Heinrich. And you notice she does use the name that you inked into the contract, for what it's worth. After everything that you've been through, do you really still believe in accidents?
Not quite sure what I said to imply that.
You
So
said
no.
you accidentally-
You said you accidentally wandered in here.
Oh yes, us
You
to
said
do
the
that.
you said
I
the
said
word
the word
to imply it.
I was more thinking
It was
that
a
she was going
hard
to say.
implication.
That she was thinking like, oh yeah, accidentally superimposed her dimension over a pre-existing structure. But no, okay, yeah. Anyways, right. But how does? Okay, so no, yeah. All right. Thanks for the way in, I guess. But how's that work? It's not the first time I've seen something like that. Although I can't quite put my finger on it.
Really? Where was the first time that you saw something like this?
Well, as you are an astute listener, as my last misstep I spoke, I'm sure you remember I just said can't quite put my finger on it.
Well, without a way to compare, it would be hard to tell, wouldn't it?
I suppose. Although if it was something as simple as just the writing on it keeps it open to wherever the writer wants it to go, am I close?
You can see the hair that falls through the hood, this white-gray hair, all of a sudden kind of drifting further back as she begins to kind of fall behind you again. You hear her voice as she does so, just kind of say, "You're welcome to investigate it for yourself."
I have a question.
All of a sudden, Heinrich on the other side, the Grey Lady passes, kind of drifts by to Morwen, who is in front of you.
She's like the teacher on like a
Basically, yeah, she's a chaperone. Honestly, every NPC is basically a chaperone for the
Always.
Finger King.
I mean, I think in most DMing cases, it's kind of.
Yeah.
Hi, Grey Lady. Is it okay that I call you Grey Lady?
Call me Martha.
Is there like I don't know. I just feel like is this a name you like? Like, do you have another name you would like since we're gonna be traveling together? I'm just wondering. I'm Morwen.
The Grey Lady was a name given to me. I don't mind it. I'm gray. I wear gray. It makes sense to me. But if you would like, I'm looking for her name. Give me 1 second. Da-da.
First name basis with the Grey Lady. That's good.
Long before I was the Grey Lady, and longer before that, before I was even a deep seer, I was called Runelin.
Rune. Lynn.
Runelyn.
Are you? Can you do that again?
E-L-Y-N.
Rune and Lynn.
So I got it right.
You got it right the first time. Just
Look at what.
great Landy. She wrote Grey Landy.
The Great Landy.
I
Just put a
wrote,
D in
I
there.
wrote Rulin correctly, but I wrote Lady wrong. What the hell's wrong with me?
Lots. So
Grey Landy Rulin.
she kind of says this. I will say, after that, she regards you for a moment, and then she says, "And where did a tabaxi get an elvish name?"
That was also given to me. Or it kind of just always was. I guess I got it from an elf, right?
Make a wisdom saving throw, Morwen. Or you could choose to fail.
We'll see.
You'll
I wanna
probably
try.
fail anyway.
I'm
Okay.
probably gonna anyway. Yeah, I fail. Yeah, it's a 12.
Yeah. You feel the same kind of psionic prodding. These fingers that crawl across your thoughts, your dreams, your hopes, your fears, in the darkest recesses of your minds. You feel this. Anybody watching would see a look undisguised of confusion from the Grey Lady. And for a moment, you can see her hand drift up. She's moving it slightly, and she kind of pulls it back. Curious.
What is?
She just kind of drifts back to the
Wait,
back
no,
of
I'm
the
curious too. I'm curious too.
She don't want to talk to you.
Wait. I'll ask her later. We got some time.
You march single file on these massive spiders, known as steeders, through the dark. You pass ruins on your left, on your right. Every now and then, they come to a rope bridge and you cross. These planks ancient and underneath these huge spiders. Every now and then you can hear the wood splinter. Shay, with your passive perception of 20, in those moments you watch a small motion from the Grey Lady. You see a disruption of reality around these planks. There is probably little more than the Grey Lady holding you up at times. There's a moment as you watch ahead of you, Akka on the first one, this white steeder, it steps and you can hear the plank kind of buckle. You see it bend and you see the Grey Lady, the shimmer kind of holding it up. And there's a distinct moment where you are very aware that there are times where the Grey Lady holds each of your lives directly in her hand. But as you walk, she seems to support your weight.
And that's why we like Runelin.
And when we get over the bridge, we're gonna be like, "Wow, that bridge was sturdier than I thought it was." It's great.
It really holds up. Can't judge a book by its
Dwarven
cover.
craftsmanship.
Very sturdy stuff. This wood.
You walk for a time, and over the course of this march, the first leg of this journey, which I will say is going to take about an hour and a half, is there anything that you all wish to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Runelin why she's curious again. Every half hour, I'm gonna be like, "Miss Runelin, Miss Runelin."
Wow.
After the first 45 minutes of this, you hear it once. You hear it again about an hour in, and like 15 minutes go by. You can see Morwen start to like turn around again, just checking to see where the Grey Lady is. And all the way in the back, I believe, is Heinrich. You hear an exasperated sigh about an hour and 15 minutes in before the Grey Lady kind of drifts up. And Morwen, to you, she points, "What is that?" And Morwen, as your eyes follow her finger, you do see a weird amalgamation of strange things and then shiny things within the ruins off to your left, maybe 30 minutes away. Or not 30 minutes, 30 feet away.
I don't know. Let's go check it out.
After you. And she drifts back. For what it's worth, you annoyed her enough that she's showing you something just to get you off her back.
Yeah, let's go look at it.
Heinrich, you don't need to make a roll to see
Thank you,
that
Miss
with your
Rudlin.
insight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think
wait,
anyone needs
when
to
she
make
drifts
insight
back-
checks for that.
When
We're
she
all
drifts
just
back, I'll just be like, "Ain't she just a charmer?"
You all walk forward. As you approach this, Morwen, well, it's you in the lead, presumably. And she points us off, and you kind of peel off to the side, everybody following.
Oh, I thought it was right before Heinrich.
You're
Oh, you're
before
right.
Heinrich, but Akka and Shay are in front of you, so you peel away, and then
I
they'll have to
see.
follow you. Assuming Akka and Shay that you would like to do so.
We notice it, right? I'd at least stop and see what's going on.
Yeah, you hear the exchange, you turn and stop.
Yeah.
You
I'll
all
watch
peel off.
Morwen investigate.
Okay, you stand off a little bit to watch. Morwen, as you near, you notice that there is a smattering of skeletal bodies. Particular damage in this area as well. There's a narrow alleyway within the ruins. You can see elements of the buildings that would indicate there are 2 to 3 stories within this cavern, but badly damaged, most of them fallen in. But there is an alleyway, and you can see the corpses seem to almost have been launched out of that alley. Do you continue?
Yeah.
The Grey Lady floating next to you, Heinrich, for what it's worth. But more when you approach on your spider, the spider crawling over some of these corpses, one of the feet takes one of the bones, just crumbles under the weight of the spider. You get to the entrance of the alleyway. You can see it leads maybe 15 feet down to a dead end, 8-foot tall wall. About midway through that alleyway, there's a tangle of 6 corpses, all dwarven in nature, all skeletal. They're generally equipped in scale mail with dark scales, large pauldrons lined with spikes, or iron elements to like fingerless gloves and boots. You see a variety of weapons kind of in this clump. But predominantly, there's like a large hammer-like weapon with a series of iron spikes in the head. Given your backgrounds, Akka might know that these are war picks, but there's 2 of them there. There are some javelins rusted and kind of wedged into this pick, and you see a mace scattered on the floor. The way that they're moved around, they appear to have been looted previously, Morwen. You also see at the very end, up against this wall, and elements of the wall broken in behind it, a strangely spindly humanoid. Long arms and legs, dead, skeletal. Each hand, you notice, has long skeletal fingers and a shorter thumb. Only 3 fingers on each hand. You've never seen anything like it. And the skull is weird too, although you'd have to get closer to really investigate. There's a door to the left of this creature. You can see what looks like a functional enclosed lock keeping it shut.
Well, so she pointed over and was like, "There's stuff in there."
Yeah.
And then, but I don't know what stuff. I'm looking for the stuff.
Yeah, she just pointed out a point of interest, and you kind of went over to look, seeing the shiny things. The shiny things, for the most part, appear to be weapons, armor, but you would need to really investigate to find out.
Okay, I won't take too long in here. I'm gonna check out the slender man over there in the corner, and see if this door lock is difficult, and if it's looks pretty simple, I'm gonna check out the door and we'll see what happens.
You watch Morwen's spider crawl towards the alleyway. You're all the way at the legs, too far. This thing is too wide. But as it approaches, the legs crawl and it onto the wall and begins to walk. Morwen's ponytail falls, kind of vertically going down. Morwen, you have to hold on to the side as you're now horizontally, just barely clearing
into it.
You walk. You look down 4 feet beneath you, corpses as you walk by, and the spider stops, and you can kind of pick at them from the wall. Make an investigation check.
little fairness, also a little cautious. I'm not trying to just go, spiders blazing.
That's why you're not making an advantage, because you have some time.
What am I doing? Investigation?
Yes.
16.
You see the weapons, you see a little bit of armor kind of scattered about. You don't see any gold, any kind of purses, and again, you'd imagine probably looted before. But you get to this skeletal creature, this long one, and the skull is weird. It bulges slightly in the back, although it does appear kind of humanoid. But there are no teeth. You instead see these 4 dark openings, clearly natural and part of the skull's design. They're clustered around another cavity that appears to be a single opening where the nostrils on a humanoid skull would be. It wears dark robes with rigid leather ribbing that run along the torso. It closes in the middle like a spider. Looking at the dwarves as you investigate them, I mean, they seem to have been blasted away from this creature. But yeah, you can see. And you said it's 16?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
With the
Okay.
16, you do notice that one of these corpses, a dwarven corpse, is dressed a little bit differently than the others, a little bit better. You get closer, the clothing faded white, although a little dusty, a little worn. This trim of almost like an eggshell silk. It's inset with linear patterns, like rays of sun maybe bursting away from the chest. Upon the chest, there's a symbol. An outline of a dwarf's head with the eyes shut as if asleep, but the single eye open in the middle of the forehead.
Creepy.
Shay, to you, as you kind of get maybe a little closer on the spider and peer where Morwen is looking, it is almost like a monastic garb.
Is it the same number of bodies as there were in the room prior when I saw the Steeders?
Yes, although the rusted and old armor in nature would imagine
Makes
that
it
these are
seem
probably
like
not the same.
Older, yeah.
Yeah. So, Morwen, are you taking anything? I would say actually with that, you're looking at the body, you also look up and you can see there is this sort of doorway with a lock. It's a pretty solid padlock. But that's kind of all that you could really see. I would say more when there is like lettering, perhaps, and you get kind of closer to the door, you need to clean it off to look at it. And as you said, you were being cautious, so you do not have to. But it appears to be dwarvish. You've seen dwarvish before.
I get up to the lettering and clean it off with like a sleeve.
Okay. You move it, dust up and around, gets in your face, kind of whisker it away, and it's still dwarvish, but more clear, though not to you, as you neither read nor speak dwarvish, nor readers, nor read really.
Heinrich, can you squeeze in here?
Do I hear that?
Yeah,
What? Oh. Is Aka in there too? I forget.
Aka and Shay are kind of at the beginning of the alleyway, but not inside of it.
Well,
We're all on
just-
spiders trying to fit in this.
just
little-
get Aka, just get Aka to read it.
Oh, that's right. Aka, can you come in here?
Keeping an eye on our guide here.
I guess, would I be able to dismount to go check? Because I don't want to have to, like, maneuver around to get to where it is.
I mean, yeah, you'd assume you can just jump off. You want to try it?
Yeah.
I'm staying on
probably
mine
stick a
because
little
creative
and
space.
jump
No.
off and go take a look at what Morwen's pointing out.
As you've ridden these things, you come to recognize the only adhesive part is the legs.
Okay.
So without issue, you climb off. You go over to the alleyway. You step over to where Morwen is. She's at a right angle to you, kind of hanging off the spider on the wall. So you are about eye level for the first time ever.
What?
Morwen's eyes are sideways.
Like, what's up? What?
Isn't it?
Oh, apparently me right now. But will you? What's that lock say?
What's that lock say?
You can see in two languages, Dwarven and Undercommon, although I don't think you speak Undercommon, but Dwarvish, and it seems to be the same number of characters, so you can intuit. It says Thuldor Pickup, and you speak Dwarvish, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Thuldor means, roughly translated, those who endure.
It says roughly those who endure.
Pickup.
Pick up. Pick up for those who endure. Or
Okay, what does that mean?
it's probably those who endures lock. For it, pick up as in like pick up.
One word, pickup. As in, perhaps I would
Probably that's like
say
one of
Like
those
a post
2D
to like
stations.
drop down? Like I'm
make
confused.
make a intelligence check, flat intelligence, Aka.
Oh, thank God.
The best puzzles are the ones the players invent
Ooh.
themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
24.
Always.
24. You get the rough idea that in this context, pickup means as if to be collected.
Right. That's, yeah, so probably like this, whatever's behind this lock is something that is meant for those who endure.
Ooh, it's a treasure?
Might be treasure.
Runelin? Miss Runelin? Is there treasure?
Heinrich, you hear next to you. And then the Grey Lady floats towards the alleyway. She
Wear her down,
leans
Morwen.
in.
Wear her down.
What you are seeing, Morwen, is the bane of our people. She gestures with a long nailed finger at that humanoid corpse at the end. Mind flayers. Long ago, when we were separated from those of the coals, we were taken by the Illithids and their ilk. They made us what we are. Different than the dwarves that you know, I'm sure.
So I know that we're like kind of pressed for time. So can I just, instead of like messing with this stuff, can I take the mind flayers?
Are you asking her?
Yeah.
She looks at you somewhat incredulously and then sort of does this nod as if to say sure, and then just floats out of the alleyway.
Okay, I'm gonna take the skull because I feel like I could get good money from like somewhere weird to buy the skull of a mind flayer.
Yeah, maybe. You take the skull, pop it off, the whole spinal column crumbles into dust. The
Bring it to
elements of
Morwen's
leather armor
miscellaneous.
fall. And you can add one Mind Flayer skull to your inventory.
How many is that we have?
Frank's got a new friend.
Mind Flayer skulls or just
No,
skulls?
no. I mean,
It's your first Mind Flayer skull. Skulls?
I think we have 2.
4?
Does that only have...
No, I only have Frank, and now I have the mind flayers.
Okay. And Akka took a skull from the undersea.
Yeah. But you have it now because I had you
I
put
do?
it in the
When I
bag.
put
Yeah, I
it
had
in
you
my
put it in the
bag-
bag.
When I put the that flayer skull in the bag, I'll just be like, "Don't worry, Frank. It's not a replacement. We're gonna sell him later. But you know, if he's cool, let me know."
You put the Mind Flayer skull next to Frank, kind of tucked away within your various winter garb. You can't help but notice that this Mind Flayer skull, bigger than Frank, shinier than Frank, doesn't have the same cracks within the fossa. It's a better skull.
Whoa.
Whoa, Joe. I don't know about that. That's pretty.
What I heard was that
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't
pretend
have
like
the
I did ruin
character.
It is not as bespoke as Frank is, certainly. It doesn't have the staining from the eyes that you forced into his sockets for a good couple of days.
Frank's got stories to tell.
Yeah, Frank and I
Yeah,
have
so-
been through a lot.
And what the fuck
New
is a
guy-
mind flayer anyway?
Yeah.
So you close your bag.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting out of here. All right, cool.
Okay. Spider
This was fun.
turns around and crawls back along the wall. Akka, you have to kind of bend out of the way. It's a narrow alley, but
I'd
there's a-
scooch back and go get back on mine,
Okay.
seeing that Morwen was done with her shenanigans.
Yeah, you all mount up without
I
issue.
would probably sigh and turn after the Grey Lady sighed and turned away.
Thank
Like-
you, Miss Runelin.
You all begin to turn. As you do, Shay, you see the Grey Lady look at you. Her eyebrows raise, but she says nothing. You all progress? All right.
Mhm.
If there's nothing else that you would like to do over the course of this part of the journey, without
Actually,
issue. Oh,
Miss Runelin? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're good.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you about that vault again.
anyways, do you want to ask her about it? You certainly
not,
can.
not really. I kind of like having full health going into an unknown area.
Yeah. You pass more and more of these bridges, seeing that they're torn. They hang loose off the side with the current that's coming up, the thermal air vents that come from the lava beneath. And as you cross, you do see the angry red and orange burble that indicates lava beneath. Although so far, maybe hundreds of feet down, you lose it in the heat waves that radiate off, and so you don't get a great view. There might be land masses floating in, hard to tell. But more and more, the structures are damaged, broken. You eventually get to a point where there's a large expanse of lava in front of you and no clear, visible continuation of these paths that you've taken. The Underdark stretches forward beneath you and in front of you, and the lava has risen slowly and is now no further than 90 feet beneath you. You can see it more clearly now. There is something odd to it. You get the sense, some of you having seen lava in other places across this campaign, it's weird how there doesn't seem to be growing volcanic rock settling anywhere. It's just liquid magma, for what it's worth. The spiders continue to walk towards the edge of this, towards this flow of lava. You can see elements of the walls kind of spread out, maybe 90 feet away from you. Is there anything that you guys would like to do? I believe, Akka, you are still in the lead.
Is it like uncomfortably hot, or is it getting to be?
It's getting there. But at the moment, about 90 feet up from the magma, it's not too bad. Heinrich's very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. I like it down here.
Yeah, homie.
I
Minus the
mean,
hole.
Yeah, shit,
I don't know
sucks for
where
you.
where we
It's
are,
hot
where we're
underground.
supposed to be heading.
The
I'm
spider
not
is
very
approaching
happy
the
about this
sledge.
whole situation.
So what's up next here, Miss Grayley? It looks like we're coming to an impasse.
I mean,
She
they're spiders.
smiles.
It can probably climb, right?
You look. I mean, it's a
upside
90-foot
down.
gap from the platform to
We
the
can probably
wall.
jump, right?
You guys do approach, and Runeland smiles. We continue, Heinrich. And Akka, your spider gets right up to the edge. You feel it tense, about to attempt to leap this gap.
I also tense, ready
Is
for
there,
it
is
to
there
leap.
anything that you want to do, or are you just holding on?
Do I have it? I have the saddle, right?
Yeah, there's a saddle attached to it.
I'm like ready to use my winged boots if I am like somehow knocked off or it doesn't make it,
Okay.
so that I don't
Sure.
fall into the chasm.
You will watch as Akka's steeder, this huge albino steeder, crouches. The legs, you can hear the muscles go taut underneath, and you can see them swell for just a second. Off, gone is Akka. Akka, you are pressed into the steeder as it leaps 90 feet, clearing the gap, going over the lava. You see the legs spread wide. I need to make a dexterity saving throw as it into the side and sticks down the side, screeching a little bit before stopping. And I would say make it at advantage, as you were prepared kind of for this. So you did prepare something.
Okay, that is a 21.
A 21. As it collides, you reach around and grab onto the neck of this thing, and you can hear it as it goes back. You kind of choke it a little bit in this rear naked choke for just a second, but you hang on.
Okay.
Little bits of the saliva drip over your gauntlet. It doesn't seem to be acidic of any kind. It just is saliva. But it drips down your gauntlet and runs before falling off. And about 90 feet below, you hear as it burns in the back. But next, you can see Heinrich, Shay, your steeder gets to the edge. Are you doing anything as it similarly crouches?
Preparing to hang on.
All right. Off and gone into the distance as Shay. Again, make I would say you could make a dexterity or strength saving throw, your choice.
It's going to be a 27.
Shay, unlike Akka, who basically had to strangle his mount, and you would imagine, were these not under the strange control of the Grey Lady of Runeland, these things would fight you for doing that. These things are you're getting the sense they're like very docile, almost unnaturally so. All of you saw these things had blinders on, like they couldn't even really be trusted to see each other in normal circumstances. So Akka, as you like choke this thing, you get really nervous. Shay, you don't need to do that. As this thing approaches, you kind of tense your legs and you pull yourself into the spider at the same time as you would be bounced off, and you negate the momentum. It just lands with you, and you just crawl along the sides. You see Akka like struggling. You hear the spider as it like is choked slightly. You're fine. Morwen, you feel the spider tense under you. Are you doing anything?
Yeah, I'll prepare to.
Claws
And
in.
if there's any moment where it feels like fun and safe to do so, I'm gonna be like, woo, like a roller coaster. But only
Great.
if it feels safe to do so. If it feels
Sure.
not, I'm not gonna do it.
Make an
You're the only
intelligence
one who
check.
can feel it.
Flat intelligence check. You feel it crouch down.
18.
Now is not a safe time. You hang on tight as it leaps.
I don't think you needed a dice roll for that, honestly.
I was
That
gonna
would've
say midway through. Oh, this is a great time.
Yeah.
But you're
I was gonna say, that
okay.
would be probably the stupidest way for Morwen to die. And it
Akka and Shay got over just fine.
Through this air, you never feel safe. It lands hard. Make a dexterity or strength saving throw. Your choice. Dexterity, I know.
All right, that's a 27.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Flame Rad Dragon, I think that's her name. Thank you for following along in the adventure. The 27.
Mm-hmm.
This thing lands. With your rogue nature, your incredible athletics, you kind of hang on to the sort of bridle that was attached, the reins, that are attached to the bridle within this thing's like gross, ickery mouth. You have to hold on, and there's a moment where you don't feel safe necessarily, but you're aware of the fact that with this kind of the reins in your hand, you loop it over your back and kind of stick your arms out so it tucks underneath your armpits, holding you to the spider, and you hold your hands out for just a second before grabbing.
Cool.
And then under your breath go, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm the bravest.
The only person that sees this are Heinrich and Runelin, and you hear again from the Grey Lady. And she floats.
Ain't
off the
she
edge.
great? Ain't
As
she
you-
great?
As your spider underneath you feel the
Well,
knees
two
tremble a
things.
little bit.
Before, because I had time seeing everyone jump. How far
I'll
is
just
it
up
to
in front of
the next platform?
It's not a platform. They're adhering straight to the wall of the canyon and are
And
now
the
walking.
destination is just like, who knows when we'll
You have
level
no
back
idea.
out? Okay.
The rest of them are all at a 90-degree angle, hanging off. And for those of you who are not Shay and Morwen, this is going to be an endurance thing for you.
That's fine. I got the fucking
got
belt.
my-
so
I
I'm
got
gonna
my
use
windy-
strength
my
to
You
hang
boots.
on.
all, I'm just saying you got to think about it, but we'll get to that in a second. Heinrich, you have some
I'm
time
going
to see
to,
this.
yeah, I'm going to sort of strength myself, like hands wrapping around the stomach of it,
Okay.
underneath the like straps, if I can fit my hands through the straps.
So you kind of
and saddle.
weave them around to like hold on.
Yeah, while also
Sure.
holding on as like a double
Yeah.
layer.
Wait, so are
Okay.
you like?
I'm I'm bear hugging this thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So you wrap your arms up in the.
It's the only way I can get through this. I don't care how it looks.
In the reins, you
opposite
wrap
of
your
you.
arms up so they wrap around your arms until you're pulled into the spider, and then you wrap around it. You feel the chitinous kind of, and there's this like
I'll find the
bristles
creases.
of black fur.
I'll find the creases.
Yeah, you kind of slide your arms into the creases. This thing, you can feel kind of like trembling and shaking as it's almost tickled by these motions.
All right, well then I'll use off on
Cute.
that. I don't want to tickle it off the wall.
But you do this. You get really secure to it. You
Cool.
hear it as it gets ready, and then leaps.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead and make a strength saving throw at advantage because you did prepare quite heavily for it.
Yeah,
And the belt of stone giant strength you can hear chanting in your ears.
23.
23.
For a fucking warlock.
Nobody sees this because you are at the end of this train. However, I like to imagine in Morwen's bag, Frank's skull peeking out as the flaps kind of like. Frank sees this.
He'll tell me about it later.
You leap, and your spider, as it grabs with the weight that you have, like scrabbles at this for just a moment. The adhesive not quite enough to stick. You can see elements of the fur being left in the adhesive trail.
Cool.
But you are strong enough that you are not shaken off. 3 of the legs hang out over the lava, elements of the rocks down, and you hear them sizzle as they burn. But as the spider rights itself, you hang on tight.
Perfect.
And you travel with the rest of the group. You are all now moving along this kind of, and as you're walking on it, it's a volcanic rock. This is like almost obsidian, and so it's sheer and smooth. But the spiders climb without issue, and you would imagine this would be difficult, even with the spells that you have at your disposal, to do without these spiders. The Grey Lady floats alongside you. You continue to travel. Akka, your arm's getting kind of tired, and Heinrich, yours as well. Is there anything that you guys are doing?
I think I would use enhance ability.
Okay.
And it's
Bear's
for
strength?
Yeah, for strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Ox's,
Bear's
I can't remember what it
endurance.
is. Bear's endurance.
I
think
know,
it's Ox's
it's
strength.
bull's strength, yeah.
Bull's strength. Utilizing enhance ability, you can feel the calligraphy swirl and swarm with power, and your muscles kind of swell for a moment, and you grip on tight. No problem. Heinrich, what are you doing?
I don't have any fun, fancy spells to help with this, but I am gonna tap my boots together just in case.
Okay.
I'm not gonna try to use it to explode anywhere. Also, I'm not underwater,
Sure.
but just in case I were to fall on a liquid surface, I know
Sure.
it'll probably burn me, but I won't drown in it while burning to death.
Probably.
And it'll buy me some time to run forward and do other stuff.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
Make a
You
strength
got your
saving
hellish
throw.
rebuke, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding on as tight as I
Hellish
can.
rebuke the lava with
Yeah,
fire.
burn the
damage.
lava. Fire with fire. That's what we're taught.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm gonna hold on tight the same way of this preparation. So it's like
Sure.
I can give my hands a break because it's also just like in the wraps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There are different ways that you can kind of relax, ease, and like flex
Just
different
like
muscles.
alternating. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like practicing that, never having had to do that before, but
Use
realizing
your
that I
hip
can.
flexors.
Akka says from in front of you.
I'm like getting a weird like rock climbers workout from this riding of a spider. So
Yeah, for sure you are.
I better get a skill increase after. No, I'm just kidding.
You just get really toned thighs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is.
As you guys dismount, you can see the Grey Lady lean over to you, Akka. Heinrich is kind of thick right now.
Oh God, no! Get away from me, Grey Lady.
Rick
I'm just,
counting that.
I don't know what
Everybody's
this
fine.
is, but I'm just
Oh my
imagining the
God.
woman from Grey Gardens. If you guys have seen that.
Oh, I was just
Yeah,
thinking
the,
about that the other
yeah.
day.
That's the two
Well,
sisters, right?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
the
the like
relation to the Kennedys. Whatever,
Little
neither
Eddie
here
and
nor
Big Eddie.
Heinrich,
Yeah.
what was yours?
The result is a 19.
Not sponsors.
19? No problem. You do get a workout. You feel sweat beginning to drip across the clay-like skin that you have, this kind of reddish clay. Now and then on your left antler, kind of facing the lava, you can see it bead up and then drip down. But you hang on. You walk by, about 45 minutes pass, and suddenly it's a little bit warmer. The climb is a little bit more horizontal. You've stopped kind of going down. The spider's kind of going down a little bit straight, down a little bit straight. The spiders seem to almost instinctually know where to step. And here and there, you're aware that it gets hotter. Looking along the wall that you walk down, you're aware there are little rivulets of magma that run down the sides. And as you progress further, you can see now from the ceiling here and there just drips of this magma that pass you. Sometimes no more than like a foot away. Another 5 minutes pass, and now you can see almost steady streams of magma here and there. Little bits dripping, as it is viscous liquid, kind of breaks in these drips, but steady flows kind of dripping. It's hotter. And there is a point where you do walk very close to one of these rivulets of lava. Maybe like a 1 inch wide trickle, and it feels, even that 1 inch, like you're walking by the open mouth of like a pizza oven. Just this intense heat for a moment, but you pass. All of you with your rolls have no issue over the course of this next hour.
Ow, fucking hell.
The clean cloven nature of this canyon begins to change. No longer straight walls of shiny obsidian. The ceiling begins to close. You can see it now, gradually getting lower and lower. Here and there, stalactites of magma bubble down to points, small bits of magma streaming down to channels of lava below. And you do realize, as you're looking below and getting closer, there are patterns and currents and eddies. There is a flow to this lava. This is a river of lava. And the spiders approach, and after that hour that I just mentioned gets to the end, you get to this flat expanse of ground where the lava seems to end. It does lap, almost like water on a shore, although it does not harden and dry. Akka, your spider first crawls along the wall before leaping and landing on this almost like a walkway that leads to a large, maybe 20-foot tall cavern that continues onwards. The cavern goes maybe 50 feet before opening up into a large stone and metal bridge. And at the end of it, you see this gleaming, almost bluish metal citadel that opens up and kind of spreads out. The lava you can see rising up in pools around it in places. There are areas where the lava seems controlled and spills out of almost channels like aqueducts and then back into these pools. But as you draw to this area across that bridge, you can see for the first time in probably centuries by those who are not the Duragar, the Cold Forge. And because it is 11:50 and a good enough place to leave off for the evening, that is where we're going to end for this week. Yeah, you guys made it to the Cold Forge.
We made
2
it!
years.
And we made a friend.
Ah,
Miss
yeah,
Raylan?
you know.
Miss Raylan?
We're wearing her
Miss
down. She's
Raylan?
gonna give up and give in eventually.
For what it's worth, the Grey Lady, in and of herself, not necessarily a bad guy. I
Right.
like to think that in general, with a few exceptions, there really aren't bad people.
Like Little Eddie and Big
It
Eddie.
just is. It's a scale of how bad they want revenge.
Well, it's
On
context, and everything is contextual. Like there are even Baron Dodd, if you want to think way back to the beginning of the
Sure.
campaign.
Base wants and needs, aspirations, and a mix of other stuff.
And he had reasons for all that stuff. There's a reason
Yeah,
that he
sucked.
turned into this horrible fucking asshole. Anyways, neither here nor there. That's way back at the beginning. Check it out on YouTube, where all of our old sessions are. I think actually the death of Baron Dodd is on there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was
Morwen killing him.
He had it coming.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out, tuning in to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. Are we all back next week? Question mark.
Believe so. What's the
We're all back next week for session 81 of Adventures in Alberon, where we begin our trek into the Cold Forge. But until then, please stay safe out there. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Ah.